Chapter 1685. Yi Ming, Yusin, did you notice anything strange when you were devouring the heavenly energy? Yi Chunfeng found Yu Yeming and Ling Yusin, and asked in a low voice after the terrifying sound that reverberated throughout the 100 Battles city disappeared. August 8th language equals is not equal to equals. Less than or equal to 8 is equal to 1 less than or equal to z greater than or equal to equals. Less than or equal to strange? Why does Brother Yi say that? Yu Yi Ming asked in surprise. When I was devouring the heavenly energy, I felt a strange power hidden in the heavenly energy that was constantly corroding my life force. Yi Chunfeng told them about his encounter when he was devouring the heavenly energy. Really, Yu Yi Ming and Ling Yusin's expressions changed slightly. They immediately closed their eyes and peeked at their life force. After peeking again and again, they sensed a nearly undetectable corrosive power that had invaded the depths of their life force. Their expressions instantly turned gloomy. If they did not remove the corrosive power that had invaded their life force in time, it would greatly affect their future cultivation. It seems like this is the true purpose of the 100 Battles martial competition. Yu Yi Ming's expression became incomparably gloomy. Brother Yi, I will remember this favor. I will definitely repay it in the future. You're too polite. Yi Chunfeng smiled. There's still a month before the 100 Battles martial competition. I think the two of you should be able to remove the corrosive power from your life force. No problem. Yu Yi Ming and Ling Yusin had extraordinary foundations. After expressing their thanks, they left to find a way to refine the corrosive power. After the two of them left, Yi Chunfeng immediately found Xia Wendi, Ling Yusin, and the others. He controlled the God-Eater brain to check their bodies. Since they hadn't been able to devour heavenly energy for a long time, there wasn't much of the strange energy corroding their roots of life. With the help of the Chaos Divine Wood, Yi Chunfeng spent nearly half a month devouring the corrosive energy in their roots of life, removing the hidden danger in their bodies. As for Zhan Wudi and Ming Qianxin, they were hiding a huge secret. Using their powerful foundations, they slowly removed the hidden danger in their bodies. Very quickly, a month passed. The highly anticipated 100 Battles martial competition was about to begin. Although there were only 8 people who stood out in the preliminary round and entered the final round, these 8 people represented the peak level of the Sky region and even the Void God realm's younger generation. The clash between them made the experts of various clans look forward to it. As for the tickets to the 100 Battles martial competition's finals, they were even hyped up to a sky-high price by people. A single ticket was hard to obtain. Being able to enter the ancient sacred battlefield and witness the finals of the 100 Battles martial competition at close range had become a symbol of identity and status. Let's go to the 100 Battles sacred battlefield. After taking a bath and changing into a clean martial arts suit, Yi Chunfeng walked out of the room in high spirits and met up with Xia Wendi, Ling Yu, and the others. They took the carriage that Tian Palace had already prepared and went to the sage battlefield of 100 Battles. Stop right there. You can't enter without a ticket. When Yi Chunfeng's group arrived at the 100 Battles sacred battlefield, they were immediately stopped by the guards at the entrance. I'm not here to spectate. I'm here to participate. Yi Chunfeng stood proudly and took out his identity token. Young Master Yi, please come in. Seeing Yi Chunfeng's identity token, the guard who stopped them had a huge change in expression and revealed a look of awe. He respectfully handed over Yi Chunfeng's identity token with both hands and took the initiative to open a path. Young Master Yi. Could he be the first place of the 100 Battles ranking? Yi Chunfeng. His strength doesn't seem to be much. Not much? Rumor has it that Tian Wufa of the Divine Sky Clan and He Guangdao of the Black Demon Clan lost to him. Do you think he's weak? That's true, but the finals aren't the preliminaries. If he wants to win in the finals, there's no hope at all. Well, according to the results of the previous years, I'm afraid the first place of this 100 battles martial competition will be dominated by the Divine Sky Clan. Looking at Yi Chunfeng from afar, there was a commotion outside the 100 battles sacred battlefield. Pairs of eyes shot over and discussed animatedly. Yi Chunfeng ignored the surrounding gazes and discussions, put away his identity token, and said indifferently, "They're my friends. They should be able to enter to watch the competition." Yes, of course. The 100 battles city guard seemed to have changed into a different person as he nodded. "Let's go." Yi Chunfeng did not waste any time and led Xia Wendi, Ling Yu, and the others into the bustling 100 battles sacred battlefield. So big, this 100 battles sacred battlefield is so big. Walking into the sacred battlefield, Xia Wendi and the others were deeply shocked by the scene in front of them. They saw that the sacred battlefield's grandstands were like heavenly walls, hundreds of feet high, majestic. And in the center of the grandstands, there was a floating battle stage made of divine stones that had experienced the vicissitudes of time, bathed in the light of restrictions. Because Yi Chunfeng's results were too outstanding, the sacred battlefield's grandstands had already left the best seats for Yi Chunfeng and the others. Not long after Yi Chunfeng arrived, Yu Yeming, Ling Yusin, and the others also appeared. Looking at their expressions, they had already cured the hidden injuries in their bodies. Moreover, they had refined the heavenly energy, and their strength had risen by another step. After a while, Tian Qinyun, Huang Wutian, Gu Hong Emoichen, and the number 1 genius of the Azure Sky Clan, Tian Yun, all arrived. The atmosphere of the sacred battlefield became lively, and the audience in the grandstands were happily discussing who would stand out from the other geniuses and take first place in the 100 battles martial meeting. Although Yi Chunfeng had taken first place in the preliminaries, no one was optimistic about him in the finals. They guessed that he would be eliminated in the first round. "All right, everyone quiet down." As the entire sacred battlefield was filled with ear-piercing discussions, a white-robed old man with a snow-white beard appeared in the void. His aura was one with the world, and his eyes were bright and piercing. As he opened his mouth, a terrifying voice instantly suppressed the noise, shocking the entire audience. What a terrifying Supreme Elder! Looking at the white-robed old man in front of him, Yi Chunfeng's pupils couldn't help but shrink into the most dangerous pinholes. He could smell a deep sense of danger from this old man. "All right, we will now draw lots. The rules of the finals are the same as the previous ones, a single-round elimination system. The one who has the last laugh will be the champion of the 100 battles martial meeting. My Divine Sky Clan will reward him with a mid-grade ancestral pill and a Chaos Stone," the white-robed old man loudly announced. "Chaos Stone." Yi Chunfeng's eyes brightened. He didn't expect the reward for the champion of the 100 battles martial meeting to be so generous. Not only was there an ancestral pill, but there was also a Chaos Stone to forge an ancestral artifact. If he could obtain this Chaos Stone, he might be able to upgrade the Demon Sealing Sword to a top-grade Transcendent Saint artifact. At that time, with the help of the way of controlling artifacts, he would have the strength to instantly kill an ordinary Divine Realm Master. "There are 8 balls of light here. You can draw lots now." The white-robed old man took out 8 balls of light floating in the void and loudly announced. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The silent space of the sacred battlefield fluctuated. Yi Chunfeng and the others simultaneously deduced their Tao intent, condensing huge hands that covered the sky and grabbed at the balls of light. Tian Qinyun and Huang Wutian wanted to embarrass Yi Chunfeng, so they intentionally attacked the huge hands condensed by Yi Chunfeng, wanting to shatter them. However, Yi Chunfeng had comprehended the Void Tao Tablet for hundreds of years. His comprehension of Tao intent had risen by several levels. Tian Qinyun and Huang Wutian's little trick didn't succeed, and Yi Chunfeng easily caught a ball of light. When Yi Chunfeng and the others crushed the balls of light, the names of the 2 opponents and the number of matches appeared on the wall of light floating above the 100 battles martial meeting. They were Yu Yiming against Tian Yun, Tian Qinyun against Gu Hong, Yi Chunfeng against Emoichen, and Ling Yusin against Huang Wutian. All right, I announce the start of the 100 Battles Martial Meetings Finals. After the lots were drawn, the white-robed old man loudly announced. In the next moment, two ear-piercing sounds rang out. Yu Yiming and Tian Yun stood up, and like two invincible divine swords, they cut through the air and appeared on the battle stage that had experienced the vicissitudes of time. They looked at each other from afar, preparing for the final battle. Chapter 1686. Tian Yun was a rare peerless genius of the Azure Sky clan. He had cultivated for more than 4,000 years and had reached the peak of 6-star Heavenly Lord realm. He was only a step away from becoming a 1-star Heavenly God. There were even rumors that he had cultivated the Supreme Imperial Heavenly Tao to the 8th level. By borrowing the terrifying might of the Supreme Imperial Heavenly Tao, he could contend against ordinary Divine Realm experts. Although Tian Yun was extremely powerful when he faced Yu Yiming, his deep eyes were still filled with a heavy solemnity. This was because he knew that Yu Yiming came from the Void God world. Whether it was strength or talent, Yu Yiming was stronger than him. It would be extremely difficult for him to defeat Yu Yiming. However, he did not give up because of this. He was prepared to use his strongest strength and attack to defend his dignity and fight for a chance at victory. Yu Yiming, let me see if the top genius of the Void God world lives up to his name. With a thought, Tian Yun summoned the greatest treasure of the Green Sky clan, the Green Sky Sword, which was a lower-grade transcendent saint tool. His battle intent also soared at this moment. At this time, Tian Yun was like an unsheathed divine sword. The terrifying sharpness made people not dare to look at him directly. I will let you get what you want, Yu Yiming said calmly with his hands behind his back. Although Tian Yun was strong in terms of overall combat strength, he was undoubtedly the weakest of the 8 people who had made it into the finals. Ready, begin. With the white-haired old man's order, 10 layers of defense rose around the martial stage, sealing it. It was as if their attacks were too destructive and would harm innocent people. Azure Sky Sword. Tian Yun roared and activated the Ether's mantra to its maximum. He slashed out with the Azure Sky Sword in his hand. Rolling will of the way gushed out, turning into a sword light that seemed to contain the power of the heavens. It slashed towards Yu Yiming, who was standing straight and not dodging. Seeing that the sword was about to hit Yu Yiming stepped forward with his hands behind his back. A powerful sword intent spread out from his body and quickly gathered. He slashed down with the Azure Sky Sword, easily breaking Tian Yun's probing attack. Boundless Great Tao. Tian Yun's expression changed slightly when he saw Yu Yiming take a light step forward and break his probing attack. He quickly deduced a powerful Tao will and slashed out a torrential river of light that evolved the Great Tao towards Yu Yiming. Tian Yun, don't waste any more time. This kind of attack is useless against me. Although Yu Yiming and Tian Yun were both peak 6-star lords, Yu Yiming was far stronger than Tian Yun in terms of both strength and foundation. Yu Yiming gently extended a finger and pointed at the incoming river of light. Ka ka ka. A series of cracking sounds rang out. The sword light that shot out from Yu Yiming's fingertips directly pierced through the great path of the vast expanse, easily breaking through his attack. So strong. This Yu Yiming is so strong. Tian Yun's continuous attacks are actually unable to pose any threat to him. The Heaven region is the Heaven region. It can't be compared to the Void God realm. Tian Yun didn't rely on strength to enter the finals, but luck. If it weren't for that Yi Chunfeng defeating Tian Wufa and He Guangdao, Tian Yun wouldn't have been able to enter the top 8 at the last moment. While the spectators in the stands were discussing Yu Yiming's terrifying strength, Tian Yun's expression was solemn as he circulated the supreme sovereign heavenly Tao to the extreme, causing the power of the heavens to surge in from all directions. At your age, you can cultivate the supreme sovereign heavenly Tao to the 8th level. Not bad. Yu Yiming didn't summon any weapon. He just looked at Tianyun in silence, who was overflowing with golden light like an invincible emperor, and spoke with confidence. Tianyun roared as he circulated the supreme sovereign heavenly Tao to the extreme. Surging sovereign Qi and Tao will fuse together and crazily poured into the azure sky sword. The sword split open space and slashed towards Yu Yiming. This sword is only SOSO, but it's far from enough if you want to defeat me. A wild smile appeared on Yu Yiming's face. Both his hands moved swiftly to form a great palm silhouette filled with supreme swordsmanship, which shot forward to meet the incoming attack. Boom! The two terrifying forces collided, causing a deafening explosion to ring out. Although Tianyun's sword was powerful, it was still shattered by Yu Yiming's sword imprint. The terrifying aftershock spread through the air, causing Tianyun to retreat step by step. Supreme Sovereign Heavenly Tao, 8th Level Sovereign Heavenly Tao. Tianyun took a deep breath and suppressed the surging blood in his body. He unleashed his strongest move. 8th Level Sovereign Heavenly Tao surged out of his body, activating the strongest power of the Azure Sky sword as it slashed towards Yu Yiming. As the sword slashed out, a huge crescent moon appeared in the air. The terrifying Sovereign Heavenly Tao shook the 9 heavens, causing the space to tremble continuously. Not bad, this move is not bad. Yu Yiming's eyes narrowed as a sword of light that flowed with Tao will appeared in his hand. With a flash of his body, he charged forward like a bolt of lightning that tore through the sky. As the sword pierced through the air, the terrifying sword light pierced the center of the crescent moon sword imprint. Terrifying sword will instantly poured into the crescent moon sword and shattered it. In the next moment, Yu Yiming slashed out 18 times consecutively. 18 sharp sword lights sealed off the void as they slashed towards Tianyun, who was holding the Azure Sky sword in his hand and defending with all his might. Although Tianyun clenched his teeth and withstood Yu Yiming's 18 sword strikes, his arms were still injured by the aftershock of the 18 sword strike. A large amount of blood flowed out uncontrollably, splattering all over the ground. Yun is going to lose. A middle-aged man in a dark blue robe, with an extraordinary bearing and a domineering aura, sighed softly. This man was the Azure Sky clan leader, Tian Jidao, who had once pursued Yi Chunfeng and forced Yi Chunfeng into the alien battlefield. As Yi Chunfeng had used the illusory Tao will to constantly change his appearance in the ethereal secret realm, Tian Jidao didn't recognize Yi Chunfeng. Yes, Yu Yiming's strength is too terrifying. Tianyun raised the sovereign heavenly Tao to the 8th heaven and still couldn't force him to use his trump card. It seems like Yu Yiming really has the strength to be number 1. The Azure Sky clan leader nodded and said, "Sovereign heavenly Tao, heaven and earth return." Tianyun couldn't accept such a way of losing. He took a deep breath, suppressed the surging blood in his body, and executed the strongest attack he knew. Heaven and earth return was the strongest move evolved from the sovereign heavenly Tao. Its power was extremely terrifying, but executing this move required the sacrifice of one's physical body. It was a move that hurt both sides. Once executed, the price was extremely high. However, in order to injure Yu Yiming and defend his dignity, Tianyun couldn't care less. "What's wrong? You want to go all out?" Yu Yiming had a good understanding of the sovereign heavenly clan's legacy. Seeing Tianyun's physical body explode continuously, he guessed that Tianyun was going to execute heaven and earth return. In the next moment, Yu Yiming's body turned into a stream of light. Carrying a mysterious force, he suddenly appeared in front of Tianyun. 1. After being attacked by Yu Yiming's mysterious force, Tianyun's soul trembled, and his reaction slowed down a little. Although he regained his consciousness in the blink of an eye, in a fight between experts, subtle changes were fatal. Yu Yiming threw out a palm, and a large amount of sword will permeated between his 5 fingers. With this palm, Yu Yiming broke through Tianyun's physical defenses. Before Tianyun could use heaven and earth together, Yu Yeming blasted him out of the battle arena and lost the match. Chapter 1687. Too strong. In front of Yu Yeming, Tianyun did not even have the strength to resist. The difference in strength is too obvious. Yes, Tianyun has no complaints about his loss. This kind of difference in strength cannot be made up with trump cards. Witnessing the scene of Yu Yeming defeating Tianyun with a single palm strike, the sky-high spectator stands were filled with gasp. Everyone was shocked by Yu Yeming's shocking strength. Eighth day language greater than or equal to equals. Tianyun. Seeing Tianyun fall off the stage, suffering from the backlash of heaven and earth, and his body constantly shattering, Tian Jidao's heart tightened. He immediately flew out of the spectator stands and appeared beside Tianyun at an extremely fast speed. He fed him an elixir to stabilize his injuries. Yu Yeming coldly glanced at the severely injured Tianyun without a trace of pity. His body flashed and he flew off the stage, returning to the spectator stands. Next, the second match will begin. The white-haired old man in charge of the 100 battles martial competition looked deeply at Yu Yeming and announced loudly. Compared to the first match, the second match was even more eye-catching. This was because the two opponents were the top genius of the Divine Sky Clan, the pinnacle one-star heavenly god Tian Qinyun, and the top genius of the ancient clan, Gu Hong. Both of them were popular candidates for the championship. Their early encounter caused the atmosphere of the entire sacred battlefield to reach its peak. It was unprecedentedly lively. Gu Hong, I didn't expect us to meet so soon. Tian Qinyun, who was wearing a long white robe, calmly looked at Gu Hong, who was wearing a dark gray robe. His hair was slightly white, and his eyes were bright and full of spirit, as if they contained infinite energy. Yes, I also didn't expect your luck to be so bad to meet me in the first round, Gu Hong said in a deep voice. His face was emotionless, making it impossible for others to guess his true thoughts. Gu Hong, there are rumors in the Void God world that you have cultivated the immovable ancient tree art to the extreme. Today, let me experience the power of this sacred art that has been passed down for countless years. As he spoke, Tian Qinyun seemed to have changed into a different person. Endless spear intent gushed out of his body. The terrifying battle intent caused the entire space to tremble violently. The terrifying aura instantly locked onto the emotionless Gu Hong. I won't disappoint you. Gu Hong was like a boulder, standing in place without moving. The powerful aura released by Tian Qinyun did not affect him at all. The immovable ancient tree art. I didn't expect him to have comprehended this legendary divine ability. The war race was inherited from the ancient race. Zhan Wudi had heard of the art of immovable ancient tree and knew how terrifying it was. In the ancient history of the ancient race, there had been peerless geniuses who had successfully cultivated this mystique. Once the immovable ancient art was mastered, its defensive power would reach a terrifying level. Ordinary transcendent saint weapons would not be able to break through the defense of the immovable ancient art. It could be said that if one cultivated the immovable ancient art to the extreme, they would be almost invincible. Brother, do you think senior brother Gu Hong can win? Zhan Shishir also did not have a good impression of the people from the Tian clan, and really wanted Gu Hong to have the last laugh. If brother Gu Hong were to fight someone else, he might have a chance of winning. However, it's hard to say if he's facing Tian Qinyun. Zhan Wudi shook his head. Why? Zhan Shishir asked in confusion. Because he's from the Tian clan, and this 100 battles martial competition is held by the Tian clan. I think the Tian clan must have given him an unimaginable trump card to ensure that he wins. Zhan Wudi took a deep breath and said, Tian Qinyun, Gu Hong, let me see the true strength of the Void God realm's top geniuses. Yi Chenfeng's deep eyes shot out rays of light. He was full of anticipation for the battle between the two. Battle begin. Following the white-haired old man's command, A sharp spear appeared in Tian Qingyun's hand. He stabbed out, directly tearing through the space of the battle stage, and piercing towards Gu Hong's throat. Looks like Tian Qingyun attaches great importance to this battle. He used the middle-grade Transcendent Saint weapon, 8 Malevolent Battle Spear. Of course, although Tian Qingyun's strength is shocking, Gu Hong is also a one-star Tao God Almighty. If he doesn't use his full strength, he might fail miserably. Looking at the spear that easily cut through space, many people recognized the origin of the spear. Immovable ancient tree art. Facing Tian Qingyun's spear light, Gu Hong didn't dodge. Instead, he revolved the immovable ancient tree mantra to the extreme. A towering ancient tree that seemed to stand between the heavens and earth appeared around him, increasing his defensive power. Qi. The 8 Malevolent Battle Spear in Tian Qingyun's hand clashed with the ancient tree shadows that Gu Hong had shot out. The terrifying tree shadows constantly neutralized the attack of the 8 Malevolent Battle Spear. Break! Tian Qingyun shouted. Several Heaven Dao diagrams appeared around his body, turning into a large number of Dao runes that flowed into the 8 Malevolent Battle Spear, increasing the offensive power of the spear in an attempt to break through the tree shadows. Ka. Under Tian Qingyun's all-out attack, the tree shadows that Gu Hong had summoned were constantly broken. The terrifying spear light pierced through the tree shadows, continuously attacking Gu Hong's body. The 8 Malevolent Battle Spear was a middle-grade Transcendent Saint weapon. The spear light that it shot out was extremely powerful. However, when it pierced Gu Hong's body, it was blocked by a layer of bark-like defensive light. It couldn't hurt Gu Hong at all. Immovable ancient tree art is indeed worthy of its reputation. After witnessing Gu Hong's defensive power, Tian Qingyun's battle intent intensified. He raised his head and let out a long roar. His entire body leaped up high, deducing a powerful Tao will. He held the 8 Malevolent Battle Spear in his hand and attacked ferociously. He wanted to rely on his absolute attack to break through Gu Hong's immovable ancient tree art. Tian Qingyun's spear light could pierce through heaven and earth, but Gu Hong's immovable ancient tree art was even more heaven-defying. As the ancient tree that emerged from Gu Hong's body swayed continuously, streams of light swept down and fiercely countered Tian Qingyun's spear light, neutralizing his attacks. Immovable ancient tree battle shadow. Relying on his absolute defense to block Tian Qingyun's ferocious attacks, Gu Hong's deep eyes suddenly shot out a light that was even more dazzling than the sun. His hands moved quickly, forming a mysterious hand seal that blended with the powerful ancient tree shadows and attacked Tian Qingyun. So. As the ancient tree battle shadows attacked, Tian Qingyun decisively changed his move. The 8 Malevolent Battle Spear in his hand was like a flood dragon in a great river, rolling up and down, constantly piercing through the ancient tree battle shadows and breaking Gu Hong's attacks. Ancient tree towering to the heavens, ancient tree roots. The ancient tree shadows were destroyed by Tian Qingyun's absolute attack. Gu Hong's hands moved again, executing the immovable ancient tree art's multiplication offensive divine art. Another towering ancient tree appeared out of thin air, floating above Tian Qingyun's head. Large amounts of ancient roots extended out and attacked Tian Qingyun. In the blink of an eye, the ancient tree roots descended from the sky and formed an unbreakable tree root prison, trapping Tian Qingyun inside. The tree roots that were as tough as transcendent saint artifacts attacked his body from all directions. Heaven wheel break. Being trapped in the root prison, Tian Qingyun immediately spat out a wheel of light that shone with heavenly light. With a shocking force, it struck the root prison, breaking through the thick roots and breaking out of the root prison. Mid-grade transcendent saint artifact. Just how many treasures does this Tian Qingyun have? Looking at the heavens wheel floating above Tian Qingyun's head, releasing a boundless destructive power, the people in the stands all sucked in a deep breath. One had to know that the greatest treasures of the heaven domain's major forces were only low-grade transcendent saint artifacts. Mid-grade transcendent saint artifacts were extremely rare in the heaven domain, and Tian Qingyun alone had 2 of them. This made many people envious of his birth. After breaking through the ancient tree root prison, Tian Qingyun fused several heaven-grade Dao diagrams into the heaven wheel, increasing its offensive power and attacking Gu Hong. Seeing the heaven wheel's shocking power about to strike Gu Hong's body, Gu Hong suddenly opened his mouth and spat out a pitch-black ancient tree that looked like a black dragon, blocking the heaven wheel's attack. Black dragonwood. This Gu Hong's natal treasure is actually a black dragonwood. Seeing the black dragon wood that Gu Hong spat out to block the heaven wheel, many great figures recognized the origin of this ancient tree. Black dragonwood was one of the Void God world's 10 great ancient trees. Not only did it have great offensive power, it also had the ability to communicate with spirit. Even Dao ancestors would find it difficult to subdue it, but Gu Hong was able to subdue it. It was enough to show that he had gained the recognition of the black dragon wood and was willing to follow him. Gu Hong, you have indeed hidden your strength deeply. It seems that if I want to defeat you, I will need to show my true strength. Looking at the black dragon wood that Gu Hong spat out, Tian Qingyun's battle intent did not diminish. He let out a loud roar and stabbed out with the 8 malevolent battle spear. Chapter 1688. God and Devil World Destroyer Spear. With a thrust of the spear, Tian Qingyun's attack power instantly reached the peak. The terrifying spear light swallowed the aurora and blended with the power of the god and devil as it pierced into the black dragon wood. Bai Chinese network is almost equal to is not equal to equals. Equals 8 is equal to 1 greater than or equal to z greater than or equal to. Is almost equal to c less than or equal to o greater than or equal to m is almost equal to ing. After being attacked by Tian Qingyun's spear, the black dragon wood emitted a series of dragon roars that resounded throughout the sky. A sinister black dragon flew out of the black dragon wood and opened its bloody mouth to bite at Tian Qingyun, who was attacking with all his might. Power of heaven, break! With a wave of his hand, the heaven wheel broke out of Tian Qingyun's body and smashed into the black dragon wood. The powerful attack shattered the black dragon wood. Deity 100 battle weapons. While Tian Qingyun and Gu Hong were fighting fiercely, Tian Qingyun suddenly changed his moves. He deduced his Dao will to the extreme and executed the Divine Sky Clan's inherited divine skills. In an instant, divine weapons of various shapes and forms with extraordinary power appeared and bombarded Gu Hong. Ancient Tree Immovable Art. Gu Hong took a deep breath and executed the ancient tree immovable art to the extreme, using all his strength to withstand the attacks of the Deity 100 battle weapons. Boundless energy radiated from his body. The terrifying attacks caused Gu Hong to lose control of his body and take 3 steps back uncontrollably. Although he lost control of his body, Gu Hong was able to withstand the attacks with the ancient tree immovable art's defense and was not injured. This made the spectators gasp in amazement. They were shocked at how terrifying this movement technique was. What a powerful defense! To be able to withstand Tian Qingyun's attack head-on without being injured. This ancient tree immovable art is indeed one of the 2 peak-level supreme abilities of the ancient race. Zhan Wudi exclaimed, envious of Gu Hong's background. Supreme ability! Yi Chunfeng couldn't help but suck in a cold breath. It could be said that the supreme ability was the most peak-level cultivation technique in the universe. Every supreme ability represented an era and was the trump card of the various races. Haha, satisfying. Today, let me see if your shield is tougher or my spear is sharper. Tian Qingyun didn't expect the ancient race's inherited ancient tree immovable art to have such shocking defense. However, his battle intent didn't decrease. With a loud roar, he continued to attack with the 8 malevolent battle spear. Ancient tree shakes the sky. Gu Hong took a deep breath and suppressed the surging qi and blood in his body. he controlled the sky-reaching ancient tree to shake violently, forming waves of terrifying energy that disrupted the entire space, resisting Tian Qingyun's spear attack. Tian Qingyun and Gu Hong's battle shook the heavens and earth, causing the spectators on the viewing platform to feel extremely satisfied. Although Tian Qingyun was still unable to break the ancient tree's immobility spell and did not gain an overwhelming advantage, those with sharp eyes could see that Tian Qingyun was still holding back, not using his most powerful trump card. Heavenly God's 100 Battle Soldier, 100 Soldier / After fighting intensely for over an hour, Tian Qingyun, who was full of fighting spirit, once again transformed into hundreds of powerful divine weapons. He controlled these divine weapons and merged them together. With the power of hundreds of divine weapons, they hacked towards the swaying ancient tree in the air. Ka. After receiving the attack of the 100 weapon slash, the illusory ancient tree in front of Gu Hong immediately shattered. Just as the 100 weapon slash was about to land on Gu Hong's body, Gu Hong's life-bound treasure, the black dragon wood, transformed into a lifelike black dragon. With a terrifying draconic might, it smashed through the 100 weapon slash's remnant might and shot towards Tian Qingyun. Unseal power. The strongest attack of the black dragon wood was no small matter. Tian Qingyun did not have a perverse defense like Gu Hong, so he could only use his trump card to counterattack. When he unsealed his body, a powerful energy entered his body, causing his strength to rise steadily, instantly reaching the realm of a 2-star heavenly deity. God and Devil World Annihilation Spear. A majestic shadow of a god and devil appeared on his body. Tian Qingyun thrust out his spear, and the shadow of the god and devil burst out, fusing with the tip of the spear and piercing towards the black dragon wood. Boom boom boom. A divine bell seemed to have appeared on the stage, shaking the heavens and earth. Terrifying sounds of explosions rang out incessantly, and the surging shock waves spread out in all directions, causing the layers of restrictions to tremble unceasingly. The innermost restriction could not withstand the attacks of the two, and cracks appeared on it. Celestial Demon Heaven Form. When the spear forced the black dragon wood back, Tian Qingyun transformed into a terrifying god and devil. His strength rose sharply once again, and the 8 malevolent spear in his hand pierced through the void, fiercely attacking Gu Hong. Tian Qingyun's strength has risen again. It seems like he has lost his patience and is preparing to end the battle in one go. Seeing Tian Qingyun's attack increase by dozens of times, many experienced old men in the stands guessed that Tian Qingyun had used his trump card to increase his combat strength. However, facing Tian Qingyun's tide-like attacks, Gu Hong was like an immovable boulder, borrowing the might of the ancient tree to defend with all his strength. His old-fashioned face did not reveal any expression. Celestial Demon Heaven Form, Sky-Breaking Strike. After a fruitless attack, Tian Qingyun's body fused with the 8 malevolent spear, thrusting out a shocking spear attack. As the spear thrust out, the space of the entire stage began to tremble. The astonishing power overturned rivers and seas, and it was terrifying to the extreme. Immovable Ancient Tree Art, 10 Layers of Defense. Feeling the terror of Tian Qingyun's spear attack, Gu Hong circulated the immovable ancient tree art to the extreme and laid down the strongest 10 layers of defense, blocking the attack of the sky-breaking strike. Ka. Receiving the attack of Tian Qingyun's sky-breaking strike, Gu Hong's 10 layers of defense continuously shattered. The terrifying vibrating power penetrated through the shattered defense and bombarded Gu Hong's body, causing him to lose control of his body. He was constantly pushed back, slowly approaching the edge of the stage. Gu Hong was forced back by Tian Qingyun's sky-breaking strike, but the strongest defense of the immovable ancient tree art was still intact, and Gu Hong only suffered light injuries. This allowed everyone to see how terrifying the supreme divine ability of the ancient race was. After successfully pushing Gu Hong to the edge of the stage, Tian Qingyun's attack did not slow down. He continued to attack with the 8 malevolent spear, suppressing Gu Hong with all his strength, not giving him a chance to breathe. He wanted to use more and more powerful attacks to force Gu Hong out of the battle arena and obtain victory in this fierce battle. Ancient tree against the heavens. Seeing that he was about to fall out of the stage, Gu Hong did not hesitate to burn his powerful saint spirit, increasing his strength to the extreme. The towering ancient tree merged with the black dragon wood, twisting the heavens and distorting the space, bombarding Tian Qingyun, wanting to force him back. The power of Gu Hong's attack was earth-shattering, shocking everyone in the stands. However, Tian Qingyun did not dodge this attack, because if he retreated, all his efforts would be in vain. Celestial demon form, void of heaven and earth. In the blink of an eye, Tian Qingyun's attack power also soared. He displayed the strongest move of the celestial demon form. A single spear strike caused the space in front of him to turn into nothingness, meeting Gu Hong's ancient tree against the heavens. Boom! The two powerful attacks collided, and the explosive force caused the space to collapse, shattering the 4 layers of energy barriers with extremely strong defensive power. The arena, which was made of special materials, shook violently. When the dust settled, the cracks in the space repaired themselves. The spectators saw that Tian Qingyun was standing on the stage with a pale face, while Gu Hong was knocked out of the stage by the terrifying collision force, losing the battle. Chapter 1689. Senior brother Gu Hong lost. He still couldn't create a miracle and defeat Tian Qingyun. Zhang Wudi sighed softly as he looked at Gu Hong, who was not seriously injured after falling out of the arena. He felt sorry for Gu Hong's failure. Bai Chinese network equals is almost equal to less than or equal. Although Gu Hong lost the battle, his powerful defense still shocked everyone present. If it wasn't for Tian Qingyun's heaven-defying attack, Gu Hong, who had cultivated the ancient tree immovable art to its peak, would have been in an invincible position. Huff, it's my turn. After seeing the fierce battle between Tian Qingyun and Gu Hong, Yi Chunfeng had a general understanding of the strength of the Void God World's geniuses. He slowly stood up. Brother Yi, the demon race is known for their attack power. If we were to compare pure attack power, I'm afraid Mo Chen's attack power is above Tian Qingyun's. Be careful when you fight. Zhang Wudi had some understanding of Mo Chen. When Yi Chunfeng was about to enter the stage, he immediately warned him. I'll be careful. After comprehending the 5th layer of space law, Yi Chunfeng's 100 layers seal defense was even stronger. Moreover, he had cultivated to the 3rd layer of the battle physique. His body was comparable to a high-grade true spirit Saint Tool, and after burning his Grand Mist bloodline, his body had reached the peak of a supreme grade true spirit Saint Tool. Adding on the defense of the golden glazed armor, it would not be easy for Mo Chen to injure him. After saying that, Yi Chunfeng stepped into the void. Under the gazes of many pairs of eyes, he slowly walked toward the battle stage. Yi Chen, finish the battle. Try to preserve your trump cards. Although Yi Chunfeng had obtained first place in the preliminary round, almost no one believed in him, and no one was optimistic about him. The demon race expert glanced at Yi Chunfeng with disdain and transmitted his voice. Don't worry. Half an incense's time is enough to kill an ant like him. Mo Chen's cold face revealed a thick killing intent. He didn't put Yi Chunfeng in his eyes at all. Yi Chunfeng, your good luck is over. You're dead for sure now that you've met Mo Chen. After losing to Yi Chunfeng and losing the qualifications to enter the finals, Tian Wufan gnashed his teeth. He was looking forward to the scene of Yi Chunfeng's blood splattering everywhere. No. Do you think Mo Chen will definitely win? Tian Qingyun slowly asked as he looked at Yi Chunfeng, who was standing proudly on the battle stage without a trace of fear on his face. Big bro, you don't think that Yi Chunfeng will have the last laugh, do you? Tian Wufa asked in surprise. That Yi Chunfeng didn't just rely on luck to defeat all of us and win first place in the preliminaries. Tian Qingyun spoke slowly. According to Huang Wutian, he fought Yi Chunfeng in the Battle Saint domain. Even though he said that he was absolutely confident in his ability to defeat Yi Chunfeng was only a 5-star Daolord at that time. Yet now, he's a 6-star Daolord. Even though Yi Chunfeng has broken through by refining heavenly energy, there's still an insurmountable gap between him and Emoichen. Tian Wufa spoke with an unconvinced tone. Even though that's the case, do you think that Yi Chunfeng used all his trump cards when he faced Huang Wutian? Tian Qingyun spoke slowly. I think that Yi Chunfeng isn't simple at all. He probably has a 40% chance of winning against Emoichen, while Yi Chunfeng has a 60% chance of winning. Impossible. I absolutely don't believe that Yi Chunfeng has any hope of defeating Emoichen. Tian Wufa shook his head and refuted. Then let's wait and see. Tian Qingyun took a sip of tea that was suffused with faint spirit energy, and then he gazed at Yi Chunfeng with a burning gaze as he spoke slowly. It's your misfortune to have encountered me because I'll kill you with my own hands. Emoichen, who was wearing a black robe and exuding a thick murderous aura, coldly glared at Yi Chunfeng as he spoke. What? Some of the so-called geniuses in the Void God world also like to kill with their mouths? Yi Chunfeng sneered as he retorted. I didn't expect you to be such an interesting person. I hope that you'll still have the strength to joke later. Emoichen said in a low voice as his eyes became colder and colder. Get ready. Let the match begin. The white-haired old man glanced at the two who were opposing each other as he loudly announced. Whoosh! Just as the white-haired old man's voice faded, Yi Chunfeng and Emoichen moved at the same time. They transformed into two illusory afterimages as they collided with each other at an astonishing speed. Boom! Yi Chunfeng's over 10 billion gene of strength exploded. The terrifying power was like an erupting volcano as it ruthlessly bombarded Emoichen, neutralizing his attack. What a powerful strength! Emoichen mainly cultivated the Tao of slaughter, and his physical body was equally terrifying. However, when he clashed head-on with Yi Chunfeng, he was unable to gain the slightest advantage, causing him to reveal a surprised expression. After clashing head-on, they were evenly matched. The two changed their moves at the same time, blasting out terrifying fists as they collided. Dong! 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 Every time their fists collided, a deafening explosion would occur as a large amount of sparks blossomed in front of the two. Ancestral art of slaughter. The two of them fiercely clashed for more than 20 fists, but neither of them could do anything to the other. Emoichen decisively used the ancestral art of the devil race that had been passed down for countless years, condensing a black halo filled with killing intent that increased his battle prowess. Boom! Emoichen, whose battle prowess had soared, blasted out a fist. The terrifying power instantly suppressed Yi Chunfeng's strength, forcibly pushing him back. What a terrifying killing intent! The 8-Sha Azura art that Yi Chunfeng had comprehended was similar to Emoichen's ancestral art of slaughter, but the difference in power was too great. In order to condense this halo of slaughter, Emoichen had killed countless people. Undead Spirit Pearl, devour! Feeling a large amount of death chi breaking through his defense and entering his body, Yi Chunfeng immediately controlled the Undead Spirit Pearl to devour the death chi in his body. He then summoned the Cosmos Sword Array, transforming it into a rain of swords that flew towards Emoichen. Traceless Devil Blade. As the dense rain of Cosmos swords flew towards Emoichen, a huge blade as black as ink appeared in Emoichen's hand. With a slash, the Devil Chi and the Tao of Slaughter fused together, cleaving apart the rain of Cosmos swords, and slashing towards Yi Chunfeng with astonishing might. Heaven-grade Sword Spirit. With a thought, Yi Chunfeng's heaven-grade sword spirit flew out of his sea of soul, transforming into a 1-meter-long sword, and shattered the traceless Devil Blade's murderous blade light. Heavens, that Yi Chunfeng is really not simple. The sword spirit he condensed is actually on the verge of transforming into a saint-grade sword spirit. Seeing Yi Qianfeng's heaven-grade sword spirit emitting a faint red light, the towering grandstand was filled with gasps of astonishment at Yi Qianfeng's cultivation of sword Dao. Cosmos Sword Array, Cosmos Strike. Yi Qianfeng controlled the heaven-grade sword spirit to fuse into the Cosmos Sword Array, amplifying its offensive power, and transforming it into a 10-meter-long giant sword with powerful Dao intent that slashed towards Moichen. As the Cosmos Sword Array slashed towards Yi Qianfeng, Moichen's body surged with a terrifying murderous aura. Holding the traceless devil blade in his hand, he slashed forward, relying on his powerful offensive power to break apart the Cosmos Sword Array and neutralize Yi Qianfeng's attack. Your offensive power is not bad, but you're still far from being able to defeat me. Moichen roared, now it's my turn to attack. Saying this, he deduced the ancestral slaughtering skill to the extreme, condensing 2 more murderous halos, and continued to amplify his battle strength. Holding the traceless devil blade in his hand, he fiercely attacked Yi Qianfeng. Moichen's forte was offense, and with the amplification of the 3 murderous halos, his offensive power had reached an extremely terrifying level. With a slash of his blade, the space was torn apart, and the terrifying blade light was like a waterfall falling from the sky, again and again, slashing apart the Cosmos Sword Array, and fiercely attacking Yi Qianfeng, completely suppressing his offensive, and forcing him to retreat step by step. Big brother, I said that Yi Qianfeng is just an embroidered pillow. He's definitely not Moichen's opponent. Yi Qianfeng, who was forced to the edge of the stage by Moichen's ferocious attacks, was about to lose the match, showed a relieved smile. But just as his voice fell, Yi Qianfeng decisively fused the Divine Blood Bead and Chaos Element Bead, and instantly raised his strength to 1-star Dao God Realm. In the next moment, he summoned the Demon Sealing Sword engraved with 100 ancestral runes, and slashed towards Moichen with a heaven-splitting momentum. When the Demon Sealing Sword and Traceless Devil Saber collided, the invincible sword intent from the Demon Sealing Sword forcibly shattered Traceless Devil Saber's attack. The terrifying power forced Moichen to take 3 steps back. Chapter 1690. Moichen was forced back. Yi Qianfeng was indeed hiding his strength. Interesting. I thought it would be a one-sided battle. I didn't expect Yi Qianfeng to have such ability. Seeing Moichen being forced back by Yi Qianfeng's sword, the spectators were shocked. As for Xia Wendy and Ling Yu, they felt relieved. How is this possible? How could that little bastard force back Moichen at the last moment? The smile on Tian Wufa's face froze. He couldn't believe what had just happened. Wufa, let me test your eyesight. Through your observation, what grade do you think the sword in Yi Qianfeng's hand is? Tian Qingyun's eyes glowed as he stared at the Demon Sealing Sword that was engraved with the ancestral runes of reproduction. Could it be a mid-grade Transcendent Saint artifact? Tian Wufa carefully observed and felt that the Demon Sealing Sword was extraordinary. If I'm not wrong, his sword is engraved with ancestral runes. I'm afraid its grade has surpassed mid-grade Transcendent Saint artifact and reached high-grade Transcendent Saint artifact. Tian Qingyun said. High-grade Transcendent Saint artifact. That's impossible. High-grade Transcendent Saint artifacts were extremely precious in the Void God world. They were all in the hands of great figures of various races. Juniors like them simply couldn't possess them. This Yi Qianfeng isn't simple. Maybe he came from the Void God world like us. Tian Qingyun stared at Yi Qianfeng and felt that he was becoming more and more mysterious. But if he came from the Void God world, why haven't we seen him before? Tian Wufa doubtfully asked. The Void God world is too big. There are too many hidden experts. Maybe this Yi Qianfeng is a disciple of a rogue cultivator from the Void God world. Tian Qingyun pondered for a moment and guessed Yi Qianfeng's identity. While the 2 brothers were talking, Moichen and Yi Qianfeng were like 2 bright meteors that collided once again. In the sky above the stage, fiery sparks surged out. In this attack, Moi Chen activated the 3 killing halos to the extreme. His attack power soared several times, but it was still blocked by Yi Chunfeng's demon sealing sword. Sword of the Ethereal Great Tao. After blocking Moi Chen's killing move, Yi Chunfeng followed up with another attack. 4 heaven-grade Tao diagrams appeared around him. With a slash of his sword, the 4 Tao diagrams entered the devil sealing sword, transforming into an invincible sword Tao that shattered the void and slashed towards Moi Chen. When Moi Chen relied on his absolute attack to forcefully break through the misty sword of the Great Tao, Yi Chunfeng's entire body suddenly increased in speed. His entire person turned into a matchless sword light that pierced towards Moi Chen's throat. When Moi Chen blocked Yi Chunfeng's attack with his traceless demonic saber, a force of over 10 billion jin erupted. It passed through the traceless heavy saber and into his arms, causing his arms to go numb, and he was forced to take a step back. Heaven-class sword soul slash. After repelling Moi Chen, Yi Chunfeng's attack didn't slow down. He raised his attack power to the extreme and fiercely attacked Moi Chen. The tide-like attack suppressed Moi Chen for a short period of time. The devil race was known for their slaughter. There were even rumors that Moi Chen's attack power was above Tian Qingyun's. But now Yi Chunfeng relied on his absolute attack power to suppress Moi Chen. This shocking scene stunned the audience in the stands, causing them to constantly cry out in surprise. Cosmos Sword Formation, Cosmos Strike. While Moi Chen was constantly deducing the ancestral art of slaughter to dissolve Yi Chunfeng's tide-like attacks, the Cosmos Sword Formation floating above Yi Chunfeng's head once again fused together, turning into an invincible Cosmos Sword that slashed towards him with a heaven-splitting momentum. Boom! The space above Moi Chen's head violently trembled as a large number of cracks appeared above his head. A terrifying power crazily attacked Moi Chen's body, forcing him to take 3 steps back. His blood and qi roiled. Yi Chunfeng, I've underestimated you. Looks like you're worthy of me using my trump card to deal with you. Moi Chen forcibly suppressed the blood that was about to burst out of his mouth. He no longer dared to hold back and used his trump card to increase his strength. Slaughter bead fuse. With a thought, Moi Chen fused with the slaughter bead, a middle-grade transcendent saint treasure, rapidly increasing his strength. In the blink of an eye, Moi Chen's strength surpassed that of a 1-star demon god and reached the peak of the 2-star demon god realm. The 3 halos of slaughter became even more terrifying, dyeing the void black. Die! Moi Chen roared and slashed towards Yi Chunfeng with shocking devil qi, wanting to kill him in one go. Primordial Bloodline, Ignite. Moi Chen used his trump card. Yi Chunfeng also ignited his powerful primordial bloodline in an instant, forcibly raising his strength to that of a 2-star Tao god and holding the demon sealing sword to meet Moi Chen's attack head-on. Boom! The 2 of them met head-on and were once again evenly matched. Neither of them could do anything to the other. How could this be? Moi Chen thought that by using his trump card, he would be able to turn the tide and defeat Yi Chunfeng with an overwhelming advantage. However, after meeting Yi Chunfeng's attack head-on, he found that Yi Chunfeng's strength was not weaker than his. This made him shocked at Yi Chunfeng's foundation. Moi Chen, I heard that you're good at attacking. Let's compete and see whose attack is more terrifying. Yi Chunfeng controlled the heaven-grade sword soul and fused it into the demon sealing sword, forcibly activating the 100 ancestral runes in the demon sealing sword. Then, he deduced the 4 heaven-grade Tao diagrams to the extreme and attacked Moi Chen with all his might with the demon sealing sword. No way. Do you think Moi Chen will win now? Tian Qingyun looked at the 2 of them fighting fiercely and revealed a strange smile. How could that little bastard's foundation be so deep? Tian Qingyun couldn't accept that Yi Chunfeng hadn't even used his full strength when defeating him. He felt an intense sense of humiliation. As I said, Yi Chunfeng didn't just rely on luck to suppress all of us. His strength can't be underestimated. Tian Qingyun slowly said, however, that Emoyi Chen isn't simple either. If he uses the most powerful attack inheritance of the ancestral massacre art, even I will have a headache. Just as Yi Chunfeng and Emoyi Chen were fighting fast and strong, Emoyi Chen flew up and fused with the traceless devil saber. Activating the strongest killing Dao, he slashed at Yi Chunfeng like a terrifying spatial fissure. True dragon transformation. Emoyi Chen and his weapon became one as they tore through space. Yi Chunfeng pushed his strength to the limit, erupting with nearly 40 billion jin of strength. He turned into a blood-red dragon bearing its fangs and brandishing its claws, releasing an awe-inspiring dragon roar as it met the attack. Dragon, could this Yi Chunfeng be from the Dragon Clan? Seeing Yi Chunfeng turn into a blood-red dragon and meet Emoyi Chen's attack, many people were so shocked that they stood up. How is this possible? The Dragon Clan sealed off the Dragon World because of internal strife. How could a Dragon Clan genius participate in the 100 Battles Martial Assembly? Tian Qingyun's eyes widened, and his handsome face revealed a look of disbelief. Tian Qingyun's brows also furrowed, as if he was thinking of something. Boom, boom, boom. Deafening sounds of explosions rang out incessantly. Yi Chunfeng's blood-red dragon and Emoyi Chen's demonic saber clashed fiercely in the air above the martial stage. The terrifying power formed an endless storm that swept through the sky, causing space to become chaotic. The terrifying power instantly shattered the 2 layers of defensive seals. After about 10 breaths of time, Yi Chunfeng's blood-red dragon and Emoyi Chen's demonic saber shattered at the same time. The 2 of them were like kites with their strings cut as they fell from the sky and smashed into the martial stage. They were evenly matched. Chapter 1691. Very good, I didn't expect you to be from the dragon race. Emoyi Chen crawled up from the ground and wiped the blood from his mouth. He had misunderstood Yi Chunfeng's identity. Yi Chunfeng didn't explain too much. He took a deep breath and suppressed the surging aura in his body. Holding the demon sealing sword in his hand, he continued to attack Emoyi Chen. Although Yi Chunfeng was also injured, his physical body was too strong. His injuries were not as serious as Emoyi Chen's. In addition, with the help of his Grand Mist bloodline, his physical strength was close to 40 billion jin. Relying on his physical strength, it was enough to crush Emoyi Chen. Boom, boom, boom. Emoyi Chen held the traceless devil blade in his hand and blocked Yi Chunfeng's 3 consecutive attacks. The terrifying power passed through the thick traceless devil blade and into his arms, causing severe numbness to appear on his arms. His body was also pushed back by Yi Chunfeng's explosive power. Heavens, the one who has the last laugh in this battle won't be Yi Chunfeng, right? If Emoyi Chen doesn't have a trump card to turn the tide, he might really lose to Yi Chunfeng. Seeing Emoyi Chen being forced back by Yi Chunfeng, the spectators were shocked by his shocking strength. The original ridicule and ridicule were all replaced by exclamations. Ancestral slaughter art, I am the god of slaughter. Unable to withstand Yi Chunfeng's explosive power, Emoyi Chen didn't hesitate to burn his powerful saint spirit, borrowing the power of the saint spirit to activate the ancestral slaughter art. For a moment, boundless killing intent erupted from Emoyi Chen's body. An invincible god of slaughter appeared on his body, further increasing his strength. Emoyi Chen is finally going all out. The outcome of this match is about to be decided. If Emoyi Chen can't defeat Yi Chunfeng even after using his trump card, then his momentum will be gone. Tian Qingyun slowly said as he looked at Emoyi Chen, who had turned into a killing god. Big brother, who do you think will win now? Although he didn't want to believe it, Heaven Powerless had no choice but to admit that Yi Chunfeng was stronger than him. I think Yi Chunfeng has an 80% chance of winning, while Emoyi Chen only has a 20% chance. Although Emoyi Chen, who had ignited his saint's spirit and activated the massacre ancestral art, was extremely terrifying. Tian Qingyun didn't see any trace of panic on Yi Qinfeng's face. This gave him a feeling that Yi Qinfeng still had a trump card that he hadn't used yet. "Let me send you to hell." Mo Chen's entire body was filled with a terrifying killing intent. His jet-black hair fluttered in the wind as he glared fiercely at Yi Qinfeng. "What? You're still daydreaming even now?" Yi Qinfeng sneered and ignited 2 true spirit sacred flames, increasing his strength once more. "Slaughtering demon slash!" Mo Chen roared. The 3 killing halos merged with the will of the way that he was rapidly deducing, turning into a black demonic blade that stretched across the sky, slashing towards Yi Qinfeng. As the saber slashed down, the space where the demonic saber slashed down cracked. The terrifying saber intent poured down, making Yi Qinfeng feel breathless. 100 layers space seal. Facing Mo Chen's slaughtering demon slash, Yi Qinfeng didn't face it head-on. Instead, he borrowed the power of space to form 100 space seals in front of him to block the slaughtering demon slash. Ka. When the slaughtering demon slash landed on the 100 layers space seals in front of Yi Qinfeng, it instantly shattered dozens of space seals. However, Yi Qinfeng had cultivated the law of space to the 5th level, and the 100 layers space seal's defensive power was extremely strong, completely blocking Mo Chen's killing move. "Mo Chen, is this what you're relying on?" Yi Qinfeng sneered. "You can't even break my attack, so how are you going to defeat me?" Slaughtering double demon slash. Mo Chen's face changed. He didn't expect Yi Qinfeng to have such a heaven-defying trump card. He once again deduced the slaughtering ancestral art, turning it into 2 demonic slashes. Although the slaughtering demon slash's offensive power had doubled, it still couldn't break Yi Qinfeng's 100 layers space seal, and couldn't injure Yi Qinfeng in the slightest. F***ck, this Yi Qinfeng is too heaven-defying. Yeah, this Yi Qinfeng's offensive power isn't inferior to Mo Chen's, and his defensive power isn't inferior to Gu Hong's. In addition to his unfathomable speed, he's practically flawless. Slaughtering triple demon slash. Mo Chen didn't give up. He quickly deduced the ancestral art of slaughter and condensed 3 demonic slashes that pierced through the sky. They were like spatial rifts that tore through space, slashing towards Yi Qinfeng with the power to destroy the heavens. Ka-cha-cha! In this attack, Mo Chen's slaughtering triple demon slash completely broke through Yi Qinfeng's 100 layers space seal. However, the instant the 100 layers space seal was broken, Yi Qinfeng stepped out with sword steps, displaying an unfathomable speed as he appeared in the void. Seizing the opportunity when Mo Chen was exhausted, he launched a fierce counterattack. Boundless 3-foot sword. A sword appeared in the sky as the 3-foot divine sword slashed down. The terrifying sword might evolved into the boundless Grand Tao, swallowing heaven and earth as it slashed towards Mo Chen, forcibly interrupting his deduction of the slaughtering ancestral art and forcing him to defend with all his might. When Mo Chen relied on his absolute offensive power to forcefully break through Yi Qinfeng's boundless 3-foot sword, Yi Qinfeng's foot distorted the void as he appeared above Mo Chen's head, stomping down on him with an incomparably tyrannical kick. With a single stomp, all living things wailed. The terrifying tyrannical kick evolved into profound Tao runes, bringing with it the power of millions of genes. With a stomp, it broke Mo Chen's hasty attack and sent him crashing to the ground. Tyrannical kick. After injuring Mo Chen with one stomp, Yi Qinfeng continued to stomp down. The ferocious attacks transformed into gigantic footprints that unceasingly stomped on Mo Chen's body, aggravating his injuries. Slaughtering demonic pearl, break for me! When had Mo Chen ever suffered such humiliation? With a furious roar, he summoned the slaughtering demonic pearl to shatter Yi Qinfeng's overlord sword and continued to attack Yi Qinfeng. Cosmos sword formation slash. Yi Chunfeng controlled the heaven-grade sword soul to fuse with the Cosmos sword formation, activating the strongest attack of the Cosmos sword formation, transforming it into a gigantic sword to block the slaughtering demonic pearl's attack. When the gigantic sword shook the slaughtering demonic pearl, Yi Chunfeng relied on his powerful defense to tear through the layers of berserk power and approached Moi Chen, launching a ferocious attack. Yi Chunfeng used one hand to display the profound sword Dao, while the other hand burst forth with nearly 40 billion genes of power. The tidal wave of attacks forced Moi Chen to retreat step by step, forcing him to the edge of the stage. 4 demonic slaughtering slash. Seeing Moi Chen being forced out of the stage by Yi Chunfeng's increasingly powerful attacks, Moi Chen ignored his injuries and forcefully condensed 4 demonic slaughtering slashes, sealing the space in front of him and slashing towards Yi Chunfeng with all his strength. Spatial 100 layers restriction. Yi Chunfeng once again borrowed the power of space to form 100 layers of restrictions in front of him, blocking the 4 demonic slaughtering slash. Ethereal Grand Dao Sword. When Moi Chen used the 4 demonic slaughtering slash to forcefully cut through the spatial 100 layers restriction, Yi Chunfeng once again approached Moi Chen, using the 4 heaven-grade Dao diagrams to slash out a ethereal grand Dao that contained boundless Dao connotation. PFFF. Moi Chen couldn't dodge in time and was struck by Yi Chunfeng's ethereal grand Dao sword. Although his lower-grade Transcendent Saint battle armor had neutralized the majority of the attack, he was still injured by the sword light that contained the Grand Dao Might. Spitting out a large amount of blood, he fell to the edge of the stage. Sigh, Moi Chen's momentum is gone. There's nothing he can do now. Tian Qingyun looked at the heavily injured Moi Chen, shook his head, and slowly said, "I'll take your life." 5 demonic slaughtering slash. Seeing that he was about to lose the battle, Moi Chen stimulated all the potential in his body and slashed out his strongest attack. 5 demonic sabers that stretched across heaven and earth fell from the sky, twisting the void, wanting to cleave Yi Chunfeng in half. Dimensional slash. The moment Moi Chen used his strongest attack, Yi Chunfeng waved his arm and forcibly tore apart the space above Moi Chen's head, summoning a dimensional slash to slash at him. Normally, with Moi Chen's strength, he could easily shatter the dimensional slash. But now, he had forcibly used the 5 demonic slaughtering slash, and his body was severely injured. He was completely in a weakened state and couldn't resist the dimensional slash. PFFF. Moi Chen was struck by the dimensional slash that fell from the sky and heavily fell off the stage, losing the battle. His 5 demonic slaughtering slash was easily dodged by Yi Chunfeng's sword steps, failing to cause any damage to Yi Chunfeng. Chapter 1692. Lost. Moi Chen really lost. Looking at the heavily injured Moi Chen, many people still couldn't believe that Moi Chen, one of the favorites to win the championship, would lose. Big brother, your eyes are sharp. This Yi Chunfeng hid his strength very well. Tian Wudi sighed softly. Wudi, how much of his strength do you think Yi Chunfeng used to defeat Moi Chen? Tian Qingyun stared at Yi Chunfeng and asked slowly. Why, big brother, do you think that Yi Chunfeng didn't use his full strength? Yi Chunfeng defeating Moi Chen was already shocking enough. If he still held back, it would be too terrifying. He definitely didn't use his full strength. Otherwise, Moi Chen wouldn't have suffered such light injuries. Tian Qingyun said, I just don't know what his final trump card is. Brother Chingfeng, I knew you would win. When Yi Chunfeng stepped into the void and returned to the battle arena, the spirit fish hugged him and said excitedly, Brother Yi, you are really too strong. Even Moi Chen wasn't your opponent. You will be rewarded handsomely if you enter the top 4. Zhan Wudi was convinced by Yi Chunfeng's strength and said with admiration, I'm not interested in the top 4's rewards. I only want Ancestor Dan and Chaos Stone. Yi Chunfeng shook his head. Zhan Wudi. Alright, now it's time for the final battle of the top 4. The white-haired old man presiding over the 100 battles martial meet didn't think that Yi Chunfeng would have the last laugh. He looked at him deeply and announced in a loud voice, "Yusin, don't worry, just fight with your full strength." Although Ling Yusin had broken through to 1-star Dao God realm with the help of the Chaos Lotus, there was still a big gap between her and Huang Wutian. It would be very difficult for her to defeat Huang Wutian. "Don't worry, Sister Bing, I will do my best." Ling Yusin slowly stood up and exchanged glances with Yu Yeming, who was not far away. She emitted a 7-colored light, as if she was a fairy from the heavens. She slowly walked onto the battle arena and looked at the burly Huang Wutian, who was surrounded by a terrifying power. "It's going to be another fierce battle. I wonder who will have the last laugh. I do hope that Ling Yusin can win. After all, she is from the alien battlefield. It's difficult." Huang Wutian and Tian Qinyun are known as the two most outstanding individuals of this generation of the celestial race. Moreover, it's rumored that Huang Wutian once refined a large success stage godfiend and used the godfiend's blood to refine his body, giving him the strength to uproot mountains and rivers. Looking at the two people who were exuding powerful auras and fiercely rebuking each other, many people were guessing who would have the last laugh. However, more people were optimistic about Huang Wutian. "Ling Yusin, what a charming woman!" Tian Qinyun could not help but sigh as he looked at the beautiful Ling Yusin, who was wearing a white martial arts suit. Her tall and slender body was surrounded by the runes of the great Tao. "Why, big brother? Are you interested in this woman?" Tian Wufa revealed an ambiguous smile. "Wufa, don't underestimate Ling Yusin. Her identity is not simple. If the information I received is correct, she is the new saintess of the Kunlun Holy Land." Tian Qinyun revealed an important piece of information. The saintess of the Kunlun Holy Land. Tian Wufa raised his eyebrows in surprise. In the Void God realm, there were only 2 holy lands of the human race, the Ascension Palace and the Kunlun Holy Land. However, these 2 holy lands of the human race were extremely powerful and had stood tall in the Void God realm for countless years. If Ling Yusin was the saintess of the Kunlun Holy Land, there must be something special about her. While Tian Qinyun and Tian Wufa were talking about Ling Yusin, the last battle of the day began. "It's your misfortune to have met me because I will not go easy on you." As he spoke, Huang Wutian exploded with a shocking power. Holding the sky piercer that weighed several 100 million jin, he attacked Ling Yusin with a terrifying physical strength. Heaven-defying Bao. Huang Wutian attacked with a shocking momentum. Ling Yusin immediately summoned the treasure of the Heaven-defying Palace, the Heaven-defying Bao of the Heaven-defying Palace. She deduced a powerful Dao will and pulled the bowstring, shooting a meteor-like light arrow towards Huang Wutian. Bang! As the light arrow approached, Huang Wutian's pupils immediately shrank into the most dangerous pinhole shape. He waved the sky piercer fiercely, and the halberd shattered the light arrow's attack. After that, Ling Yusin continued to pull the heaven-defying Bao, shooting out meteor-like light arrows towards Huang Wutian. She wanted to use the power of the heaven-defying Bao to restrain Huang Wutian and find a chance to defeat him. Huang Wutian's offensive was greatly suppressed by the continuous attacks of the heaven-defying light arrows. Although he waved the sky piercer with all his strength to shatter the heaven-defying light arrows, the powerful aftershock of the heaven-defying light arrows still forced him to retreat. Celestial Demon Tyrant Body. Huang Wutian was infuriated to be countered by Ling Yusin's heaven-defying Bao right from the start. He no longer held back and executed the Heaven Emperor race's inherited divine ability. He transformed into the strongest physique of the Heaven Emperor race, the Celestial Overlord physique. While his body expanded rapidly, his physical strength also increased steadily. Soon, it reached 30 billion jin of strength. Xian Tian Divine Cannon, Heaven-Breaking Halberd. After transforming into the powerful celestial demon tyrant body, Huang Wutian jumped up high and the sky piercer in his hand shone with a dazzling light. He slashed down with the halberd, and a deep trench appeared in the chaotic space. The terrifying halberd shadow shattered the light arrows like a hot knife through butter, and slashed towards Ling Yusin. Heaven-defying art! The Tao will in Ling Yusin's body rapidly evolved. Her slender hands moved quickly, and continuously formed seals to attack the halberd shadow. She forcefully broke Huang Wutian's attack. So powerful! Those who have the strength to enter the finals of the 100 Battles competition are indeed experts. Witnessing the scene of Ling Yusin breaking Huang Wutian's attack, many people were shocked by Ling Yusin's shocking strength. Big brother Qingfeng, do you think Sister Yusin can win? Ling Yusin blinked her big eyes and looked at Ling Yusin, who was showing off her strength, and asked softly. Difficult. Yi Qingfeng had fought with Huang Wutian before, and he knew how terrifying his strength was. It could be said that if Yu Yeming and Ling Yusin did not appear, he would have to use the life spirit technique to stand a chance against Huang Wutian. Desolate stone, strength amplification. Huang Wutian's attack was broken again, and he was completely infuriated. He immediately merged with the middle-grade transcendent saint treasure, desolate stone, and doubled his strength and realm. He exploded with over 60 billion gene of strength, and slashed at Ling Yusin with his sky piercer. Huang Wutian's strength increased again, and it brought great danger to Ling Yusin. She had no choice but to deduce the heaven-defying art to the extreme, and use the rainbow feather plume to face the attack. Boom! 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 The two of them used all their strength to fight fiercely in the battle arena. The terrifying collision constantly created destructive sounds that reverberated in the battle arena. Heaven-defying bow, triple kill. The two of them fought fiercely for more than an hour, and Ling Yusin's attacks were gradually suppressed by Huang Wutian. She took a deep breath and spat out 3 mouthfuls of essence blood into the heaven-defying bow, activating the strongest attack of the bow. 3 extremely powerful light arrows that could pierce through the void were shot at Huang Wutian. Xian Tian Divine Cannon, Heaven's Punishment. Huang Wutian roared and performed the strongest attack of the Xian Tian Divine Cannon. The Xian Tian Godly Scripture was a supreme divine power, and it was extremely powerful. With Huang Wutian's current strength, it was extremely strenuous for him to unleash the heavenly punishment. However, when he unleashed it with all his might, the entire space of the stage changed drastically. The terrifying Xian Tian punishment swept through the entire space, destroying the 3 heaven-defying light arrows that shot towards him and attacking Ling Yusin, whose expression changed drastically. Heaven-defying art, defend! The 3 light arrows were instantly shattered, and Ling Yusin, who smelled the dense threat of death, quickly circulated the heaven-defying art, forming a defensive light wall in front of her to defend against the heaven's punishment. However, the Xian Tian Divine Cannon was too powerful, and the heaven's punishment was unstoppable. Ling Yusin's defensive light wall continued to shatter. Poof! The defensive light wall shattered, and Ling Yusin was bombarded by the heaven's punishment. She lost control of her body and fell out of the battle arena, losing the battle. Yusin! Yu Yeming's expression changed as he instantly appeared below the battle arena. He helped the pale Ling Yusin up and asked with concern, "Are you all right?" "Don't worry, I'm fine." Ling Yusin took a deep breath and squeezed out a pale smile. She slowly stood up from Yu Yeming's embrace. "Interesting, I didn't expect you to have a treasure in your body that could negate most of the heaven's punishment." Looking at the injured Ling Yusin, the overbearing Huang Wutian revealed a surprised expression. If Ling Yusin didn't have a defensive trump card, the heaven's punishment from the Xian Tian Divine Cannon would have taken away half of her life. "Huang Wutian, I will avenge Yusin." Yu Yeming looked at Huang Wutian with a sharp gaze and said coldly, "Haha, I'll wait for you." Huang Wutian laughed arrogantly. P.S. WeChat's public account is about to reach 1,000 members. Everyone, add me. Public account, YLTY83. Chapter 1693. Alright, today's competition is officially over. Next, we'll draw lots for the semifinals. The semifinals will be held 1 month later. With that said, 4 white balls of light floated out of the old man's hand for Yi Chunfeng and the others to choose from. By Chinese Network What? 248? 1/1Z? C1. OM. The 4 of them condensed a giant hand of will of the way and snatched away a light ball. After crushing it, the situation of the semifinals immediately appeared on the light wall floating above the sacred battlefield. The first match was between Yu Yiming and Tian Qingyun. The second match was between Yi Chunfeng and Huang Wutian. Let's go back to the lakeside house. Although Huang Wutian had defeated Ling Yusin and displayed shocking strength, and Yi Chunfeng had once been forced back by Huang Wutian, things were different now. Yi Chunfeng was still confident that he could defeat Huang Wutian in the semifinals and enter the finals. Yi Chunfeng, I didn't expect that we would meet again. No one can help you now. When Yi Chunfeng left the 100 Battles sacred battlefield, he coincidentally bumped into Huang Wutian. Looking at his opponent in the semifinals, Huang Wutian revealed a sinister smile. Yi Chunfeng ignored Huang Wutian's provocation. He didn't even look at Huang Wutian as he left with Xiao Wendai, Ling Yu, and the rest. Yi Chunfeng's group had just returned to the small lakeside house with a pleasant scenery that gave people an inexplicable sense of security when Yu Yeming, Ling Yusin, and the others returned as well. Brother Yi, congratulations on entering the semi-finals. How confident are you in defeating Huang Wutian? Yu Yeming asked after congratulating Yi Chunfeng. Yi Chunfeng was not clear about Huang Wutian's final trump card, so he thought for a moment and said conservatively, well, about 60%. Then if I give this to Brother Yi, how confident are you in defeating Huang Wutian? Although Yu Yeming wanted to personally defeat Huang Wutian, he didn't have the confidence to defeat Tian Qingyun. Thus, he was prepared to give Yi Chunfeng an opportunity to help him defeat Huang Wutian. This is Royal Dragon Divine Blood Wood. Staring at the dragon-shaped ancient tree that Yu Yeming had taken out, God Devourer's mind immediately filled with information about this tree. It was as thick as a child's arm, more than half a meter long, and completely golden in color. The Royal Dragon Divine Blood Tree was second only to the 3 great divine trees and the 10 great ancient trees. It was a top sacred object in the universe. It was born by absorbing the blood of the royal dragon. The tree contained pure royal dragon blood, and its value was comparable to a half-ancestor pellet. That's right, this is the divine blood wood of the royal dragon. I obtained it by chance in a place of fortune in the void god realm. If Brother Yi refines it, it will allow your cultivation to rise to a whole new level in a short amount of time. Yu Yeming nodded and said, as long as Brother Yi guarantees to defeat Huang Wutian, I will give this item to you. Alright, I can guarantee that Huang Wutian will definitely lose. Yi Chunfeng nodded and promised, but I won't take advantage of you. I'll give you this psychic blood mushroom horse. With that, Yi Chunfeng took out the incomparably precious psychic blood mushroom horse from the universe realm and exchanged it for the royal dragon divine blood wood that was extremely important to him. Brother Yi, Huang Wutian cultivates the Xian Tian Divine Canon, one of the 2 supreme divine abilities of the Imperial Sky Clan. It is extremely powerful. When you fight him, you must be careful of this move. Ling Yusin, who had lost to Huang Wutian, solemnly warned. Although the power of the Xian Tian Divine Scripture is great, I also have a trump card to counter this move. Once I refine this divine blood wood of the royal dragon, he will definitely lose, Yi Chunfeng said with a confident smile. After exchanging greetings for a while, Yi Chunfeng returned to the courtyard that Ling Yusin had arranged for him. With a thought, he returned to the 4th layer of the universe realm and prepared to refine the royal dragon divine blood wood in the 20-fold flow of time to cultivate the 9 transformations divine change. While Yi Chunfeng was cultivating in the universe realm, the divine Sky Clan, Imperial Sky Clan, and other clans began to inquire about Yi Chunfeng through various channels. They wanted to know where he came from and which great figure he had inherited. However, in the entire Heaven region, there weren't many people who knew about Yi Chunfeng. The Fire Qilin, Ming Shifang, and the others were all in the small lakeside building of the Heaven-Defying Palace's branch. This made it so that the other clans were unable to inquire about the most important information. Qingyun, your battle with Yu Yeming is extremely important. You can only win, not lose. If you lose to him, then the number 1 position of this 100 battles martial competition will change hands. A man in a black robe, with white hair and a beard around his mouth, solemnly warned. This person was an elder of the Divine Sky clan and the main person in charge of this 100 battles martial competition. His strength had reached the realm of a 4-star heavenly deity. I know. I will not lose to Yu Yeming, Tian Qingyun slowly said as he drank a mouthful of spirit tea. His calm tone made it impossible for others to guess his true thoughts. That's right, 7th Elder. Have you inquired about Yi Chunfeng's identity? Tian Qingyun put down the teacup in his hand and asked. No. This Yi Chunfeng is extremely mysterious. We haven't been able to find out his true identity yet. The 7th Elder shook his head and said, but it doesn't matter. With his strength, he simply isn't Huang Wutian's opponent. Elimination is inevitable. 7th Elder, you don't think that Yi Chunfeng will win? Tian Qingyun asked meaningfully. Qingyun, could it be that you think that Yi Chunfeng has a higher chance of winning? The 7th Elder said in surprise. I can't guess the outcome of the battle between Yi Chunfeng and Huang Wutian. However, Yi Chunfeng was able to defeat Moe Chen while hiding his trump card. This is enough to show that he isn't simple. It won't be easy for Huang Wutian to defeat him, Tian Qingyun said. All right, I will mobilize my forces to investigate him. I want to see just who he is. The 7th Elder took a deep breath and said. Time passed day by day. Yi Chunfeng operated the God Transformation 9 transformations to refine the Royal Dragon Divine Blood Wood in the 20-fold flow of time. Under the refinement of the God Transformation 9 transformations, the Royal Dragon Divine Blood Wood turned into pure energy and was refined by Yi Chunfeng into his 4th aperture, the Shenjua aperture at his navel. It was used to temper his body and break through to the 4th heavenly layer of battle physique. Huang Wutian had the body of a fiend god. His physical body was even more terrifying than an ancestor beast. If Yi Chunfeng wanted to defeat him, he would have to further temper his physical body. This Royal Dragon Divine Blood Wood is indeed powerful. After refining 1/5 of it, it actually caused the profound pearl in the Shenjua aperture to undergo a qualitative change. Yi Chunfeng patiently refined 1/5 of the Royal Dragon Divine Blood Wood. After fusing with a large amount of Royal Dragon Blood, the profound pearl underwent a qualitative change and slowly turned into a battle pearl. Yi Chunfeng's strength also increased accordingly. When 20 days had passed in the outside world, Yi Chunfeng, who had refined 1/4 of the Royal Dragon Divine Blood Wood, successfully cultivated the 4th heavenly layer of battle physique. His physical strength directly soared to 16 billion jin, and his physical defense also reached the level of a supreme-grade true spirit artifact. After the transformation of his physical body, Yi Chunfeng was still immersed in the process of refining the Royal Dragon Divine Blood Wood. He tried his best to crush the remaining Royal Dragon Divine Blood Wood and fuse it into the last aperture, the Shunting aperture. When 3/4 of the Royal Dragon Divine Blood Wood turned into pure Royal Dragon Blood and fused into the Shunting aperture, 30 days had passed in the outside world. It was the day of the semi-finals. Phew, give me another month, and I should be able to refine all of the Royal Dragon Divine Blood Wood into the Shunting aperture and cultivate the great circle of battle physique. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and woke up from his cultivation. Although time was limited and he was unable to cultivate the great circle of battle physique, his strength was still several times stronger than a month ago. Huang Wutian, are you ready? Yi Chenfeng's eyes burned with fighting spirit. He left the universe realm and brought Xia Wendi and the others to the 100 Battles holy battlefield to prepare for the semifinals. Chapter 1694. The semifinals begin. When Yi Chenfeng's group of 4 arrived, the sky-like stands were filled to the brim. The white-haired old man appeared in the air and announced loudly, 8th, middle, literature net, 1, 8, 1, Z, calm, go for it. Ling Yusin looked at Yu Yeming, who was slowly standing up with high battle intent, and softly encouraged him. Don't worry, I have the strength to defeat him. Yu Yeming smiled at Ling Yusin as he stepped on the profound sword diagram and slowly walked towards the martial arena. Yu Yeming versus Tian Qingyun. Just the thought of it makes me excited. I wonder who will have the last laugh. I feel that Tian Qingyun has a higher chance of winning. After all, Tian Qingyun is the most popular champion of this 100 Battles martial competition. That's right. The Sky Race has practically taken all the champions of the 100 Battles martial competition. Tian Qingyun definitely has some trump cards that we can't imagine. It will be too difficult for Yu Yeming to defeat him. Looking at the two people standing proudly on the martial arena, the audience in the stands constantly predicted the outcome of the match. However, more people were optimistic about Tian Qingyun and felt that he would have the last laugh. Big brother Qingfeng, who do you think will win? Ling Yu took a big bite of a spirit fruit in an extremely unladylike manner and asked while chewing. If it's based on normal strength, they should have a 50% chance of winning. However, I feel that Tian Qingyun has an extremely terrifying trump card. If he uses that trump card, Yeming might not be able to withstand it. Yi Chenfeng's eyes were like torches as he glanced at Yu Yeming and Tian Qingyun. He was slightly worried about Yu Yeming. Yu Yeming, I hope that you won't disappoint me when we fight later. Tian Qingyun looked calmly at Yu Yeming, who was brimming with energy and was surrounded by Dao intent chains. His calm voice revealed an extremely strong domineering aura. Don't worry, I won't disappoint anyone. Yu Yeming revealed a faint smile as he replied calmly. Haha, I hope so. Tian Qingyun looked up to the sky and roared. Several powerful Dao intents gushed out of his body and gathered above his head to form an ocean that surged above the martial arena. Tian Qingyun is formidable as expected. The 4 Dao insights he comprehended are actually infinitely close to Saint-grade Dao insights. Yi Chenfeng couldn't help but reveal a solemn expression when he saw the ocean of Dao intent above Tian Qingyun's head. He had a feeling that Tian Qingyun had already touched the edge of Saint Dao intent. Get ready, let the match begin. The white-haired old man looked at the two of them, who were at loggerheads with each other, and announced the start of the first round of the semifinals. When the battle began, Yu Yeming and Tian Qingyun did not move. They both mobilized their powerful Dao wills and attacked each other, competing with their comprehension of Dao wills. Rumble! The sea of will above Tian Qingyun's head churned violently, turning into a terrifying river of will. It roared in the air, wanting to swallow Yu Yeming. In the face of the surging river of will, Yu Yeming quickly deduced the will of the way, forming a terrifying vortex of will. It twisted the space and blocked the river of will that surged towards him. The two powerful Dao intents clashed together, forming a terrifying Dao intent storm in the air. It was like thousands of soldiers and horses fiercely repelling each other in the air. Not bad, not bad. I didn't expect that with your age and strength, your comprehension of Dao intent would not be weaker than mine. Tian Qingyun continued to evolve his powerful Dao intent. He fought fiercely with Yu Yeming for half an incense stick's time, but he couldn't suppress him. He gradually lost his patience. Buzz! The entire space trembled. Tian Qingyun moved his mind and summoned the mid-grade Transcendent Saint artifact, 8 Ferocious Battle Spear. The terrifying battle spear was like a swimming dragon, tearing apart the intense Dao intent storm and thrusting towards Yu Yeming. Slash! Boundless sword intent shot out from Yu Yeming's eyes. The mid-grade Transcendent Saint's sword flashed out from his body, and it was fused with formidable Tao intent as it slashed towards the 8 ferocious battle spear and forcefully resisted its attack. The 8 ferocious battle spear was blasted back. Tian Qingyun took a stride forward and grabbed the 8 ferocious battle spear, and then he swung it swiftly. Numerous spear lights that possessed shocking might interweaved together as they attacked Yu Yeming ferociously with the intention of suppressing Yu Yeming's attack. Even though Yu Yeming was a realm lower than Tian Qingyun and only possessed the strength of a peak 6-star Daolord, his combat strength wasn't much inferior to Tian Qingyun. So, Yu Yeming didn't panic at all when facing Tian Qingyun's attacks that were interweaved with numerous world-shocking spear light. He held the mid-grade Transcendent Saint's sword in his hand to resist Tian Qingyun's attacks with all his might, and they fought fiercely on the arena. Because the two's attack speed was too fast, for a moment, illusory shadows appeared in the entire martial arena, constantly colliding with each other fiercely. The dazzling attacks made the audience in the stands cry out in satisfaction, and the cheers became louder and louder. Yu Yeming is too formidable. He actually didn't fall into a disadvantaged position in a head-on collision with Tian Qingyun. Xia Wendy couldn't help but sigh with emotion as she watched Yu Yeming fight fiercely and show no signs of weakness. They're only probing each other now, and they haven't utilized their full strengths or trump cards. Yi Chunfeng stared at them as they fought fiercely, and his God-Eater brain was swiftly deducing their methods of attack. The two of them fought fiercely without showing any sign of weakness for more than an hour. Yu Yiming's attacks were gradually suppressed by Tian Qingyun, and his body was also forced back by the sharp spear lights that were powerful enough to pierce through mountains. The energy of 3 lives. At the instant his attacks were suppressed by Tian Qingyun, a strand of mysterious energy surged out from Yu Yeming's body, and it disregarded Tian Qingyun's defenses and directly blasted into his soul sea, causing his soul to tremble while his defenses slowed down slightly. Ascension Breaker. Seizing this fleeting opportunity, Yu Yeming's entire body merged with the will of Tao that he had manifested. Rays of white feather-like sword light shot out, carrying with them the power of extreme destruction as they blasted towards Tian Qingyun at close range. Boom! 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 Yu Yeming's Ascension Breaker continued to explode on Tian Qingyun's body, and the terrifying power continued to shatter Tian Qingyun's defenses, forcing him back step by step. A stream of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. Heavens, Tian Qingyun is injured. This Yu Yeming is too powerful. He actually managed to injure Tian Qingyun so quickly. Witnessing the scene of Tian Qingyun being injured by Yu Yeming, the spectators all sucked in a sharp breath. Everyone was stunned by the scene in front of them. Amazing, I didn't expect you to have such a trump card. I've really underestimated you. Although he was injured by Yu Yeming, Tian Qingyun's fighting spirit did not weaken. His deep eyes shot out rays of cold light as he stared at Yu Yeming and spoke coldly. You're not bad either. You're only lightly injured after taking on my Ascension Breaker. After injuring Tian Qingyun, there was no joy on Yu Yeming's face. Instead, there was a solemn expression. Tian Qingyun was able to block most of the Ascension Breaker's attacks even though his reaction was slow. It was enough to show how terrifying he was. Alright, the warm-up is over. Let's start the real battle. As he spoke, Tian Qingyun unlocked a mysterious power in his body. Borrowing this power, his strength rose steadily. Soon, he surpassed the 1-star celestial god level and reached the peak of the 2-star celestial god level. The Tao will chains that wrapped around his body became even more terrifying. Yu Yeming, take my spear! Tian Qingyun roared. His entire body merged with the 8 ferocious battle spear in his hand. Like a black dragon emerging from the sea, he stabbed the spear towards Yu Yeming's chest. The terrifying spear power caused Yu Yeming's expression to change slightly. He used his mid-grade Transcendent Saint skill to defend himself. Chapter 1695. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Streaks of dazzling sword light kept splitting out of Yu Yeming's body and slashing at Tian Qingyun's black spear light at an astonishing speed. August 1st Chinese, what the hell? 8-1-1Z? However, the power of this spear light was simply too terrifying. Yu Yeming's continuous interweaving of sword lights could not shake the black spear light at all. Buzz! The black spear light collided with the mid-grade Skirich Saint's sword in Yu Yeming's hand. A terrifying repulsive force instantly filled the entire space, causing cracks to appear in space. Facing Tian Qingyun's terrifying spear attack head-on, Yu Yeming's defense was immediately shattered. The terrifying spear intent instantly gushed into his arm, tearing apart the skin on his arm, causing a large amount of blood to seep out. His entire body was forced back by the terrifying spear light. After pushing Yu Yeming back, Tian Qingyun followed up with another attack, once again thrusting out a world-shaking spear light at Yu Yeming, wanting to force him off the battle stage. 3 lives young stone. At the critical moment, Yu Yeming used his final trump card. He fused with a stone that contained a mysterious power in his heart meridian, using this stone to rapidly increase his strength. 1-star Dao Gods, 2-star Dao Gods. When Yu Yeming had completely fused with the stone, his power had reached the pinnacle of the 2-star Dao God level. He was on par with Tian Qingyun and was able to neutralize Tian Qingyun's ferocious attack. 3 lives youngling stone. I didn't expect that the Ascension Palace would give this treasure to you. Sensing the aura emitted from Yu Yeming's body, Tian Qingyun immediately guessed what kind of trump card Yu Yeming had used. His face involuntarily revealed a trace of seriousness. The biggest reason why the Ascension Palace had stood tall in the Void God world for so many years was because of the 3-life stone. It was rumored that the 3-life stone was born when the universe was born and contained the power of the 3 lives of the universe. If the strongest power of the 3-life stone was stimulated, it could surpass the ancestral artifact and be on par with the top-notch Void God artifact in the universe. The 3 lives young stone was a new 3 lives stone formed after countless years of evolution. Although the 3 lives young stone was not as miraculous as the 3 lives stone, the power it contained was equally terrifying. It was not something an ordinary transcendent saint artifact could compare to. After knowing Yu Yeming's trump card, Tian Qingyun knew that he could no longer hide his strength. Otherwise, Yu Yeming would use the 3 lives young stone to cause him to fail miserably and lose this match. Heavenly Wheel. Tian Qingyun's Heavenly Wheel, a mid-grade transcendent saint artifact, shot out of his body like a bright moon hanging in the sky, bombarding Yu Yeming. Daluo Sword Disc. Looking at the incoming Heaven Wheel, 36 Empyrean swords emerged from Yu Yeming's body. These 36 swords were all low-grade Empyrean saint artifacts. Coupled with the amplification of the sword disc, their power was close to that of a high-grade Empyrean saint artifact. Boom! The moon-like heavenly wheel was forced back by the Daluo sword disc controlled by Yu Yeming. The terrifying sword might gushed forth like flowing water, slashing towards Tian Qingyun, whose expression had changed slightly, forcing him to dodge with all his might. Daluo sword disc, seal off space. Chop! In the instant that Tian Qingyun dodged, Yu Yeming controlled the great Luo sword to attack. Rays of piercing sky saint swords sealed off the space that Tian Qingyun could dodge and attacked his body with full force. Amazing! I didn't expect Yi Ming to have such a trump card. Yi Chenfeng was shocked by Yu Yeming's strength and the ferocious attacks of the Daluo sword disc. However, although Yu Yeming had the absolute advantage, Yi Chenfeng knew that Tian Qingyun definitely had other trump cards that he had yet to use. Thus, the victor was still unknown. Golden Crow Feather. Tian Qingyun's attacks were being suppressed by Yu Yeming, and he was forced to retreat again and again. Finally, he summoned his other trump card, a dark golden feather that was over a meter long and pulsed with the light of the Tao. As this dark golden feather fused with the essence blood that Tian Qingyun had spat out, the feather began to transform, finally transforming into a dark golden great ping. Could this be the golden crow feather that the divine sky race obtained from their trade with the demonic beast race? It's very likely. This golden crow feather is a treasure that the golden crow rock king refined from one of his divine feathers. It possesses a portion of the rock king's divine abilities and is extremely terrifying. Seeing the great ping that the golden crow feather had transformed into, many experienced people recognized the origin of this feather. Screech! The great ping let out ear-piercing screeches as it faced the descending Daluo sword disc. It wanted to rely on its absolute attack to break through the Daluo sword disc's attack. Force of 3 lives destroy. Yu Yeming fused the force of 3 lifetimes into the Daluo sword disc when he saw the rock rip through the attack. It amplified the Daluo sword disc's attack, turning into streaks of light that slashed towards the rock like a waterfall. They forcefully ripped open the rock's body. Fiend God Annihilation Spear. Tian Qingyun did not think that Yu Yeming would become so terrifying after using the 3 lives sapling. Even the golden crow feather could not stop his attack. He thrust the 8 vicious spear at Yu Yeming, wanting to use his absolute attack to break through the Daluo sword disc and pressure Yu Yeming. Tian Qingyun and the Great Peng's ferocious attacks were like roiling waves, capable of shattering everything in the world. However, Yu Yeming did not show any weakness. He borrowed the 3 lives sapling's power to amplify the Daluo sword disc's attack, using his full strength to meet Tian Qingyun's attack. Fiend God Heaven Form. Even after summoning the golden crow feather, he was still suppressed by Yu Yeming. Tian Qingyun transformed into his powerful fiend god body to amplify his strength as he continued to attack. It could be said that the battle between Yu Yeming and Tian Qingyun was the most exciting battle of the 100 Battles Martial Competitions finals. The strength that the two of them displayed shocked many of the older generation. In order to defeat each other, the two of them used all their skills and trump cards. However, their strength was equal, and they were unable to injure each other. As time passed, Yu Yeming's advantage after fusing with the 3 lives sapling began to reveal itself, gradually suppressing Tian Qingyun in terms of offense. If Tian Qingyun doesn't have any other trump cards to turn the tide, then he might lose today's battle. Seeing Tian Qingyun's attacks being slowly suppressed by Yu Yeming, Yi Chunfeng couldn't help but be shocked by Yu Yeming's trump cards and combat strength. Daluo Sword Disc, all swords as one. In order to suppress Tian Qingyun, Yu Yeming deduced all the Dao intent in his body to the extreme. He controlled the 36 lower-grade Heavenly Saint swords and fused them together, forming an invincible Daluo Divine Sword. Dao intent poured down like a waterfall. One sword could shock the sky, one sword could destroy gods. Under this sword, a vacuum appeared in the space in front of Tian Qingyun. Obviously, the space of the battle stage couldn't withstand the power of this sword and started to collapse. Fiend God Heaven Form, Sky-Breaking Strike. Feeling the terror of this sword, Tian Qingyun's entire body fused with the 8 vicious war spear, thrusting out a spear light that could pierce through the sky. At this moment, the golden crow Great Ping flapped its huge wings and charged forward with all its strength. Boom! 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 3 powerful attacks clashed together. The terrifying power caused chaos in the battle stage, instantly shattering the 6 layers of defense. In the clash, Yu Yeming and Tian Qingyun were both injured. Cracks appeared on the golden crow Great Ping's body as it was almost torn apart by the destructive power. Daluo Sword Disc Slash. Yu Yeming used the 3 lives Youngling Stone to withstand the destructive power. Ignoring his injuries, he controlled the Daluo Sword Disc to continue attacking. He wanted to defeat Tian Qingyun in one go and win this battle. Although Tian Qingyun's injuries were more serious than Yu Yeming's, he still had a trump card that he hadn't used yet. Looking at the incoming Daluo Sword Disc, Tian Qingyun had no choice but to use his final trump card. Yu Yeming, this battle can end now. As he spoke, Tian Qingyun summoned an ancient painting. When he opened this painting, a dragon-like ancestral mark flew out with a despairing ancestral aura. It broke through the incoming Daluo sword disc and attacked Yu Yeming, whose expression changed greatly. Facing Tian Qingyun's final trump card, Yu Yeming used the 3 lives Youngling Stone's power to attack. Ancestral marks were drawn with the essence blood of ancestral expert. They were extremely powerful. Yu Yeming's instantaneous attack couldn't block the ancestral mark's attack at all and was shattered like a hot knife through butter. Seeing the ancestral mark pierce through Yu Yeming's body, he used the 3 lives Youngling Stone in time and used its power to nullify most of the attack. However, the power of the ancestral aura that erupted from the ancestral runes still landed heavily on his body. It tore through his defenses and sent him flying off the stage. He smashed through 2 extremely tough defenses and fell heavily to the ground. He had regretfully lost this battle. Chapter 1696. Ancestral Mark. Tian Qingyun actually has such a trump card. Seeing Tian Qingyun summon an ancestral mark and defeat Yu Yeming, Yi Chenfeng frowned. He felt pity for Yu Yeming and was even more shocked by Tian Qingyun's background. Condensing an ancestral mark like this was extremely difficult. Not only did it require a large amount of blood essence from an ancestral realm expert, but it also required a long time to refine. More importantly, the failure rate of condensing an ancestral mark into a treasure was extremely high. Very few ancestral realm experts were willing to waste time refining an ancestral mark. Mo Ling, with your current strength, can you withstand the attack of an ancestral mark? Seeing that Tian Qingyun still had an ancestral mark in the ancient scroll, Yi Chenfeng immediately communicated with Mo Ling in the demon sealing sword. I can't withstand it, Mo Ling replied. But what if I need you to withstand it and you have to withstand it? If I can't block it, I might die, and your hopes of reincarnating will also be destroyed. Yi Chenfeng continued to transmit his voice. You brat. Do you think you've got me? Mo Ling said angrily. Mo Ling, you have to understand that you and I are in the same boat. If something happens to me, you won't be able to escape either. Also, the next 2 battles are very important to me. Only by becoming the final champion and obtaining the ancestral pill and chaos stone can I increase my strength and go to the depths of the star sea to suppress that almighty demon race expert and let you reincarnate in his body. Yi Chenfeng told Mo Ling about the stakes and asked for his help. Sigh, alright. If I don't care about the cost and activate the demon sealing sword's power, I should be able to withstand an ancestral mark. After that, I might need to be weak for a long time to recover. Mo Ling placed his hopes of reincarnation on Yi Chenfeng and didn't want anything to happen to him. Helpless, Mo Ling compromised. Don't worry, I won't expose you unless I have no other choice. With Mo Ling's promise, Yi Chenfeng relaxed and quietly adjusted his breathing, waiting for the semi-finals between himself and Huang Wutian. Tian Qingyun, I have lost this battle. However, I did not lose to you, but to your divine Sky clan. Sooner or later, I will wash away today's humiliation. Yu Yeming put away the 3 lives Youngling Stone and unwillingly glanced at Tian Qingyun. After leaving behind a few words, he turned around and flew back to the stand. Yi Ming, are you all right? Seeing Yu Yeming, whose clothes were dyed red with blood, and who was heavily injured, Ling Yu's heart tightened as she asked in concern. Don't worry, the 3 lives Youngling Stone has helped me neutralize most of the ancestral patterns. My body is fine. Yu Yeming squeezed out a smile. After saying that, he swallowed a heaven-piercing saint pill and used its majestic medicinal power to heal the injuries caused by the ancestral mark. Next, let's begin the second semi-final round. After the white-haired old man repaired the cracks around the combat ring, he announced loudly, Brother Tringfeng, you can do it. You must defeat that lawless guy. Ling Yu clenched her fists and encouraged Yi Chenfeng softly. Don't worry, he will lose without a doubt. Although Huang Wuqian had defeated Ling Yu and displayed astonishing combat strength, Yi Chunfeng, who had cultivated his combat body to the fourth sky, was completely confident that he could defeat Huang Wuqian and advance to the finals. Brother Yi, you can do it. We will always support you. Zhan Shishir and the others also cheered for Yi Chunfeng. I'm going. Yi Chunfeng nodded at Xia Wendi, Zhan Shishir, and the others. He flew up into the air and jumped down from the skyscraping stand. With a series of ear-piercing sounds, he landed on the combat ring. Boom! Just as Yi Chunfeng landed on the combat ring, Huang Wuqian also flew down. The moment he landed, an unparalleled aura burst out from his body and rushed toward Yi Chunfeng with an earth-shattering force. He wanted to force Yi Chunfeng back and embarrass him. However, under the impact of Huang Wuqian's aura, Yi Chunfeng was as immovable as a rock. He was not affected at all. I didn't expect an ant like you to make it to the semi-finals. What a surprise! Huang Wuqian looked at Yi Chunfeng with cold disdain. He did not put him in his eyes at all. Meeting Huang Wuqian's cold gaze, Yi Chunfeng did not get angry and replied indifferently, I find that you have a lot of nonsense to say. What? You think you can compete with me just because you defeated Moi Chen? I will let you know the meaning of despair soon. Huang Wuqian's eyes were cold, and the battle intent in his body grew stronger and stronger. I'll be waiting. Yi Chunfeng summoned the demon sealing sword and waited for the match to begin in silence. With the white-haired old man's command, the second semi-final match began. Brat, take my crushing! Huang Wuqian roared. Holding the sky piercer that weighed hundreds of millions of jin, he slashed at Yi Chunfeng with a force that could split heaven and earth. As the sky piercer slashed down, a terrifying force erupted from his body. In an instant, Huang Wuqian's body surged with more than 20 billion jin of strength. He swung the sky piercer down, and even a mountain would be split in half. 9 transformations. Facing Huang Wuqian's pure strength attack, Yi Chunfeng did not dodge. Instead, he stimulated the power of his 5 acupoints and met the attack with the demon sealing sword. Bang! The two treasures collided, and a deafening sound of collision erupted. Endless sparks flashed in the void, blinding everyone's eyes. Purely in terms of physical strength, Yi Chunfeng was far inferior to Huang Wuqian, who had refined a great success god. However, the demon sealing sword's grade was far above the heavenly halberd. With the help of the demon sealing sword's ancestral markings, Yi Chunfeng forcibly blocked Huang Wuqian's attack and forced him back to the heavenly halberd. What? That Yi Chunfeng actually relied on pure strength to resist Huang Wuqian's attack? Heavens! That Yi Chunfeng's physical body is actually so strong. Huang Wuqian was known as the number 1 in this 100 battles conference. Even Tian Qingyun's body was not as strong as his. However, in terms of physical strength, Yi Chunfeng did not show any weakness. This caused many people to cry out in surprise. After a head-on clash, Yi Chunfeng and Huang Wuqian moved at the same time. The two once again erupted with billions of jin of strength, waving their respective treasures to fight. Dong dong dong. When the two of them fought fiercely, it was as if a terrifying divine bell had appeared in the entire martial arena, and it resounded with a deafening sound of explosion. God-fiend tyrant body! Unable to suppress Yi Chunfeng, Huang Wuqian gradually lost his patience and stimulated the power of his bloodline, transforming into the strongest god-fiend tyrant body of the Imperial Sky Clan. He forcibly raised his strength to 15 billion jin, completely suppressing Yi Chunfeng. Let's see how many of my halberd attacks you can block. Huang Wuqian's strength rose rapidly like an erupting volcano. He continued to attack with his halberd. Ferocious halberd images tore through the void like falling mountains, suppressing Yi Chunfeng's attacks and forcing him to retreat step by step. Grandmist bloodline ignite. With his attacks suppressed and his arms injured by the increasingly ferocious halberd images, Yi Chunfeng decisively ignited his Grand Mist bloodline, instantly increasing his strength by 3 times, reaching nearly 60 billion gene of strength, completely suppressing Huang Wutian. Boom! The demon sealing sword and halberd clashed, instantly erupting with nearly 60 billion gene of strength, pouring into Huang Wutian's body through the halberd. His arms were numb, and large amounts of blood seeped out from between his thumb and forefinger. What? Huang Wutian, who had lost control of his body, opened his eyes wide. He could not believe that Yi Chunfeng could actually suppress him in terms of strength. After forcing Huang Wutian back with one strike, Yi Chunfeng followed up with another attack. He continuously unleashed his strongest strength, fiercely slashing at Huang Wutian with the demon sealing sword. At this time, Yi Chunfeng's attacks were like rolling waves, each stronger than the previous. The ferocious attacks completely suppressed Huang Wutian, forcing him to retreat step by step. F***ck. This Yi Chunfeng actually used his strength to suppress Huang Wutian. Isn't his strength a little too abnormal? Amazing! In just a month, Yi Chunfeng is even more powerful than when he was fighting Emoichin. It's really unimaginable. Seeing Yi Chunfeng continuously unleashing ferocious attacks to suppress Huang Wutian, the spectators gasped. They were shocked by Yi Chunfeng's astonishing strength. Desolate stone, fuse. Seeing that Huang Wutian was forced to the edge of the arena by Yi Chunfeng's ferocious attacks, he decisively fused with the desolate stone, forcibly raising his cultivation level to 2-star heavenly god and his strength to 60 billion gene of strength. I'll take your life. Huang Wutian was furious. He roared, suppressed his roiling blood, and erupted with 60 billion gene of strength. He swung the sky-piercer halberd fiercely at Yi Chunfeng. The halberd shattered the layers of sword shadows and blocked Yi Chunfeng's ferocious attacks. You're angry just because of this? You're too petty. Although Huang Wutian's battle prowess had soared more than 10 times, Yi Chunfeng did not show a trace of panic on his face. He instantly fused with the Divine Blood Pearl and the Chaos Elemental Pearl, raising his strength to the pinnacle of 1-star Dao gods. He continued to attack Huang Wutian with the Demon Sealing Sword in his hand. Chapter 1697. Too strong. Yi Chunfeng and Huang Wutian's physical bodies are too strong, comparable to high-grade ancestor beasts. Looking at the two who ignored defense and fought fiercely, everyone in the stands was shocked by their astonishing physical strength. Damn, how can Yi Chunfeng's physical body be so strong? Tian could not imagine that in just a few years, Yi Chunfeng had grown to a level that he could only look up to. This kind of abnormal cultivation speed left him in the dust. Amazing, Yi Chunfeng is stronger than a month ago. If Huang Wutian wants to defeat him, he will have to use all his trump cards. Tian Qingyun's eyes shone brightly. He was also shocked by the change in Yi Chunfeng's strength. Yi Chunfeng and Huang Wutian fought fiercely for more than an hour. Once again, Huang Wutian suppressed Yi Chunfeng's attacks. Although his attacks were suppressed, Yi Chunfeng did not slow down his attacks. In the fierce battle, Yi Chunfeng felt that the essence of the divine dragon bloodwood that he had forcibly refined into his Shunting meridian was constantly being refined and quickly fused into his Shunting meridian, accelerating the transformation of his physical body. If he could cultivate his battle physique to the great perfection realm, his battle strength would increase further, greatly increasing his chances of winning the championship. I'm going to smash your body. After regaining the overwhelming advantage, Huang Wutian's attacks did not slow down. He fiercely waved his halberd and continuously slashed at Yi Chunfeng, wanting to smash Yi Chunfeng's body into pieces. With your little strength, you're still far from enough. Although Huang Wutian's attacks were extremely terrifying, enough to smash mountains, Yi Chunfeng's body had been amplified by the Grand Mist bloodline and was comparable to a semi-transcending Heaven Saint artifact. It could completely withstand Huang Wutian's fierce attacks. Is that so? Murderous intent flashed in Huang Wutian's eyes. His entire body merged with the heavenly halberd, turning into a powerful halberd shadow. It cut open the space and slashed towards Yi Chunfeng with the force of 100 million pounds. Boom! Yi Chunfeng raised the demon sealing sword high up to block the attack from the halberd. However, the instantaneous burst of power from the halberd forced him back. The blood energy within his body roiled violently, and a stream of blood trickled down the corner of his mouth. After injuring Yi Chunfeng with his halberd, Huang Wutian followed up with another attack. He swung his sky-piercer halberd as if he was swinging a mountain. He continued to shake Yi Chunfeng's body and aggravated his injuries. Under such a destructive attack, the injuries on Yi Chunfeng's body began to worsen, but the speed at which the Divine Hall Meridian was fusing with the Emperor Dragon Divine Blood would continue to increase. When Huang Wutian unleashed his strongest power and smashed down with the sky-piercer halberd, sending Yi Chunfeng flying, his Divine Court Meridian had completely fused with the power of the Divine Dragon Divine Blood Wood, transforming the profound orb into an even more powerful battle orb, reaching the great perfection of the battle physique. After reaching the great perfection of the battle physique, Yi Chunfeng's physical strength rose steadily, from 16 billion jin to 22 billion jin in an instant. His physical strength had even reached the level of a half-transcendent Saint Tool. After being amplified by the Grand Mist bloodline, Yi Chunfeng's physical strength once again surpassed Huang Wutian's. His physical defense was even comparable to a low-grade transcendent Saint Tool. Boom! Yi Chunfeng flipped over and stood up. The power in his body surged into the demon sealing sword like a surging tide, activating 100 ancestral marks and colliding with Huang Wutian's sky-piercer halberd. Boom! 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 Huang Wutian only felt his body tremble. Yi Chunfeng's sudden burst of power forced him to retreat step by step. Muffled thunder resounded beneath his feet. How is this possible? How did his strength increase again? Feeling Yi Chunfeng's sudden increase in strength, Huang Wutian's eyes widened as if he had seen a ghost. While Huang Wutian was still in shock, Yi Chunfeng threw the demon sealing sword with all his strength, piercing towards Huang Wutian like a hot knife through butter. True Spirit Dragon Wrestling Fist. When Huang Wutian brandished the sky-piercer halberd to block the demon sealing sword's attack with all his strength, 4 heaven-level Dao diagrams gushed out of Yi Chunfeng's body. He quickly deduced a powerful Dao and blasted out fist radiance that was enough to kill a true dragon towards Huang Wutian. After being attacked by Yi Chunfeng's True Spirit Dragon Wrestling Fist, Huang Wutian's physical defense began to crack. The terrifying Dragon Wrestling Fist erupted with shocking power, constantly breaking into his body and worsening his injuries. Xian Tian Divine Cannon. Being injured by Yi Chunfeng's True Spirit Dragon Wrestling Fist completely enraged Huang Wutian. He used the terrifying Xian Tian Divine Cannon, evolving a terrifying attack, and launched a fierce counterattack against Yi Chunfeng. Amazing! This Yi Chunfeng actually completed a breakthrough in such a life-and-death battle. It seems that Huang Wutian is in big trouble. Feeling that Yi Chunfeng's attack had increased by more than several times, many big shots from the Void God realm revealed shocked expressions. The almighty figures of the Imperial Heavenly Clan were even more worried for Huang Wutian. Cosmos Sword Formation / While Yi Chunfeng and Huang Wutian were fighting fiercely, more than 200 supreme-grade True Spirit sacred swords broke out of Yi Chunfeng's body. Under his control, they turned into overlapping sword shadows and attacked Huang Wutian. When Huang Wutian brandished the sky-piercer halberd and broke the Cosmos Sword Formation's attack in the most tyrannical manner, Yi Chunfeng suddenly accelerated the flow of time by 4 times and stabbed towards Huang Wutian. Chi! A deep sword mark appeared in the violently fluctuating space. The terrifying demon sealing sword ruthlessly stabbed into Huang Wutian's chest. The terrifying sword force directly broke into his body and pierced a large hole in his chest. A large amount of blood flowed out uncontrollably. Huang Wutian is injured. Looking at the bleeding Huang Wutian's chest that was stabbed by Yi Chunfeng, Xia Wendi and the others were overjoyed. They loudly cheered for Yi Chunfeng. Xian Tian Divine Cannon, Heavenly Punishment. His injury completely angered Huang Wutian. He deduced the Xian Tian Divine Cannon to the extreme and used the strongest move of the Xian Tian Divine Cannon. As the halberd slashed down, endless Tao intent and power gushed out of his body, turning into a heavenly punishment that could destroy heaven and earth. It shattered the void and blasted towards Yi Chunfeng. Infinite Primal Chaos. The towering Primal Chaos Divine Tree appeared on Yi Chunfeng's body. Yi Chunfeng stabbed out with his sword. The Primal Chaos Divine Tree swayed violently, forming a large amount of primal chaos power that collided with Huang Wutian's heavenly punishment. Ka. The space of the arena couldn't withstand the collision of the two powerful forces and constantly collapsed. A bottomless black hole appeared in the center of the arena. Supreme Divine Ability. This Yi Chunfeng actually also mastered a powerful Supreme Divine Ability. The Xian Tian Divine Cannon was the supreme divine ability of the Imperial Celestial Clan. Its power was extremely terrifying. Yi Chunfeng used the infinite primal chaos to resist the heavenly punishment of the Xian Tian Divine Cannon. It was enough to prove that the infinite primal chaos had also reached the level of supreme divine ability. However, what the crowd didn't know was that the reason why Yi Chunfeng's infinite primal chaos was so powerful was mainly because it had fused with the power of the primal chaos divine tree. Otherwise, the power of this attack wouldn't be so shocking. Cosmos Sword Formation / Relying on his powerful physical defense to withstand the destructive power that could topple mountains and overturn seas, Yi Chunfeng controlled the Cosmos Sword Formation to fuse together, turning it into a Cosmos Sword that slashed down fiercely. It attacked Huang Wutian fiercely and aggravated his injuries. When the destructive power of the space gradually dissipated, Huang Wutian was struck by the Cosmos Sword. He spat out a mouthful of blood and fell heavily on the edge of the arena. Huang Wutian, it's over. You've lost. Yi Chunfeng didn't give Huang Wutian a chance to breathe. He launched a sure-kill attack, wanting to defeat him in one go. Chapter 1698. You want to defeat me? Try again in your next life. Huang Wutian let out a loud roar and used his last trump card. He summoned a powerful doppelganger to block in front of him, blocking Yi Chunfeng's destructive sword. Boom! The invincible figure standing in front of Huang Wutian shook its body slightly, using its indestructible body to block the attack of the demon sealing sword. The moment Huang Wutian used the invincible shadow to block the attack, he dodged to the side rather awkwardly and escaped the disaster. This is the primitive embryo of Tao. Yi Chunfeng had seen the original embryo of Tao of the spiritual fish, so he was quite familiar with it. Looking at the invincible figure summoned by Huang Wutian, he immediately recognized that it was a terrifying original embryo of Tao. Its power was far beyond the original embryo of Tao of the spiritual fish. I didn't think that an ant like you would actually force me to use my final trump card. However, the outcome of this match has already been decided. You don't have a chance anymore. Huang Wutian said coldly as he wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and glared at Yi Chunfeng. Is that so? I don't think so. Although the primitive embryo of Tao in front of him was very frightening, and its strength was comparable to that of a 3-star heavenly god, Yi Chunfeng's face did not reveal a trace of panic. Primitive embryo of Tao, kill him! Huang Wutian spat out a mouthful of blood and merged it with the primitive embryo of Tao. He activated the power of the primitive embryo of Tao and attacked Yi Chunfeng. Boom! The primitive embryo of Tao punched out, and its terrifying power exploded the air, which posed a great threat to Yi Chunfeng. 100 layers of space restriction. Yi Chunfeng did not take the primitive embryo of Tao's attack head-on. Instead, He mobilized the power of space and formed layers of space restriction in front of him to resist the primitive embryo of Tao's attack. When the primitive embryo of Tao punched through the layers of space, Yi Chunfeng took sword steps and appeared in front of Huang Wutian, who was severely injured. He created tens of thousands of sword shadows and launched a fierce attack at Huang Wutian. Xian Tian Divine Scripture, Divine Punishment. Huang Wutian spat out a mouthful of blood and continued to attack Yi Chunfeng with the strongest attack of the Xian Tian Divine Scripture. Godless Sword. When Huang Wutian launched the heavenly punishment, Yi Chunfeng had deduced the 4 heaven-level Dao diagrams to the extreme, as if they had fused into the god-slaying sword. The sword pierced forward, swallowing all the light around the arena. The terrifying sword light seemed to pierce through the sky, slashing apart Huang Wutian's heavenly punishment and stabbing towards his chest, forcing him to constantly use his defensive trump card to defend himself. Qi. 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 Yi Chunfeng had deduced the sword principle to the extreme. The power of the godless sword was too terrifying. Huang Wutian's defensive trump cards continued to shatter. While Huang Wutian was dodging with all his might, the remaining power of the black sword light still tore through his body defense like a hot knife through butter, leaving a deep sword mark on his body. A large amount of blood spurted out uncontrollably, dyeing the battle arena red. Boom, boom, boom. When Yi Chunfeng was preparing to follow up with another attack and attack Huang Wutian with all his might, the primitive Dao embryo closed in on Yi Chunfeng and blasted out a space-shattering fist light, forcing Yi Chunfeng to use his sword steps to dodge with all his might. Celestial Demon Overlord Body, Peerless Strike. When Yi Chunfeng was forced back by the primitive Dao embryo, Huang Wutian ignored his injuries and activated the power of the Celestial Demon Overlord Body, slashing towards Yi Chunfeng with his halberd. As the halberd slashed down, the space distorted. The terrifying halberd shadow completely locked onto Yi Chunfeng, forcing him to defend with all his might. Boom! Facing the halberd shadow, Yi Chunfeng's body trembled and couldn't help but take 3 steps back. As he retreated, the primitive Dao embryo attacked again with a shocking momentum. 100 Spatial Restrictions. The primitive Dao embryo's attack power was too terrifying. Yi Chunfeng didn't dare to be hit by it, and once again formed 100 spatial restrictions to defend against the primitive Dao embryo's fist light. Big brother, do you think Huang Wutian still has a chance? Although Huang Wutian's attack with the primitive embryo of Dao was very powerful, Yi Chunfeng's face didn't reveal a trace of panic. Tian Wufa frowned as he looked at Yi Chunfeng, who was handling the attack with ease. Difficult. Tian Qinyan shook his head and said, I don't think Huang Wutian's chances of winning are high. How did Yi Chunfeng's strength increase so quickly? In just a few years, he's grown to such a level. At this rate, he'll definitely become a huge problem for our celestial race. Tian Wufa couldn't accept this fact and said angrily, Don't worry, this Yi Chunfeng won't be able to grow. Tian Qinyan knew Tian Wufa's secret and said with a strange smile. Just as Yi Chunfeng and Huang Wutian's battle reached its climax, Huang Wutian spat out dozens of mouthfuls of blood essence, which turned into a blood curse. Xian Tian Divine Cannon Blood Curse Technique Trap. Huang Wutian's hands moved quickly, and the blood curse technique grew bigger and bigger, turning into a bloody prison that trapped Yi Chunfeng inside. In the next moment, the primitive Dao embryo blasted out a series of terrifying fist lights into the bloody prison, bombarding Yi Chunfeng's body. Trapped in the bloody prison, Yi Chunfeng couldn't dodge, and could only use the demon sealing sword to defend himself. However, the primitive Dao embryo's attack power was too shocking, far surpassing Huang Wutian's. After being hit by the successive fist lights, even Yi Chunfeng's defense couldn't withstand it, and he spat out a large amount of blood. Go to hell! After Yi Chunfeng was injured by the primitive Dao embryo, Huang Wutian ignored his injuries and once again derived the Xian Tian Divine Cannon. He transformed into a terrifying sky punishment and launched a fatal attack on Yi Chunfeng, wanting to injure him in one go and complete the counterattack. The way of equipment manipulation, godless sword. At this critical moment, Yi Chunfeng used the ultimate attack that he had never used before. He instantly activated the most powerful attack of the demon sealing sword. With one sword attack, he cut open the blood-red light prison that trapped him, and shattered the fist light that came from the primitive embryo of Tao. With another sword attack, he sent the indestructible primitive embryo of Tao flying, and faced the sky punishment incarnation of Huang Wutian. No, how did his attack power suddenly increase? In an instant, Huang Wutian felt that Yi Chunfeng's attack power had soared by dozens of times. Huang Wutian revealed a terrified expression. His incarnation of heavenly punishment was broken apart by the godless sword, which seized the brilliance of heaven and earth. He was also sent flying. If it weren't for his defensive trump cards and strong physical body, this sword would have been enough to split open his body and kill him. Bang! Huang Wutian, who was spurting blood, fell heavily to the ground and almost lost the ability to continue fighting. Stop! Huang Wutian admits defeat. Just as Yi Chunfeng was about to use his killer move to end Huang Wutian's life, a furious Imperial Sky Clan powerhouse stood up and shouted loudly. At this moment, the white-haired old man with unfathomable strength passed through layers of restrictions and appeared in front of Huang Wutian, helping him resolve Yi Chunfeng's killer move and saving his life. Huang Wutian has already lost. You don't have to kill him. The white-haired old man's deep eyes shot out rays of cold light as he stared at Yi Chunfeng and said coldly, he's just a coward. Killing him will only dirty my sword. Yi Chunfeng met the white-haired old man's cold eyes and left a sentence, then turned and flew out of the arena. Pfft. Hearing the humiliating words left behind by Yi Chunfeng before he left, the proud and arrogant Huang Wutian directly vomited blood. His vision turned black and he fainted. Chapter 1699. After defeating Huang Wutian in a tyrannical manner and entering the final round, Yi Chunfeng didn't stay in the 100 Battles holy battlefield for long. Under the shocked, surprised, and cold gazes of many people, he left with Xia Wendi, Zhan Wudi, and the others, preparing for the finals in a month. Brother Yi, I didn't expect you to defeat Huang Wutian and enter the finals. Yi Chunfeng and the rest had just returned. Yu Yeming, Ling Yusin, and the rest had also returned to the lakeside house. However, Tian Qingyun is a terrifying person. I have a feeling that he was still holding back when he defeated me. If Brother Yi wants to defeat him in the finals, I'm afraid you'll have to increase your strength. Yes, Tian Qingyun's foundation is indeed terrifying. However, I'll do my best to defeat him. Yi Chunfeng nodded. I hope Brother Yi can have the last laugh and break the legend of the sky race dominating the 100 Battles tournament. Yu Yeming said. Brother Yi, from what I saw in your battle with Huang Wutian, your sword soul is about to transform into a saint-level sword soul. Ling Yusin added. Yes, my sword soul is about to transform into a saint-level sword soul. Yi Chunfeng nodded and said, however, to complete the final transformation, I'm afraid it'll take some time. I have a way to transform Brother Ye's sword soul into a saint-level sword soul in a short period of time. Ling Yusin smiled enchantingly as she looked at Xia Wendi, who was even more beautiful than a fairy. What is it? Yi Chunfeng's eyes lit up as he quickly asked. If his sword soul could transform into a saint-level sword soul, his attack power would increase by dozens of times, greatly increasing his chances of defeating Tian Qingyun. I have a holy sword grass here. I can give it to Brother Yi. With a thought, Ling Yusin took out a sword grass that contained holy will and said, however, this sword grass alone is not enough to allow Brother Ye's sword soul to transform in such a short time. The real opportunity to transform lies with Miss Xia. You're talking about Mozi's born Taoism body. Yi Chunfeng immediately understood what Ling Yusin meant. That's right. Miss Ya's born Taoism aptitude is already strong enough. If Brother Yi were to consume the holy sword grass and nourish it with her born Taoism aptitude, he should be able to transform his sword spirit into a saint in a short time. Ling Yusin nodded and said. Hearing Ling Yusin's idea, Xia Wendy's face immediately flushed red, and a trace of expectation appeared in her heart. All right, I won't disturb you any longer. Brother Yi, you can stay in the lakeside building and prepare for the finals. No one will disturb you here. After that, Ling Yusin gave the precious holy sword grass to Yi Chunfeng and left with Yu Yiming. Yu Yiming and Xia Wendy had just left when Yi Chunfeng brought Xia Wendy back to the universe realm. Qingfeng, I'll help you transform your sword soul. Without waiting for Yi Chunfeng to open his mouth, Xia Wendy, with her beautiful face and watery eyes, opened her mouth. Her coquettish voice caused one's imagination to run wild. You don't regret it? Yi Chunfeng looked at Xia Wendy's mesmerizing face and asked softly. Xia Wendy nodded and said without hesitation, Of course. You're the person I like. I'm willing to give everything I have to you without holding back. Xia Wendy's words touched the softest spot in Yi Chunfeng's heart. He gently hugged Xia Wendy in his arms, silently feeling her softness and her passion. Soon, the two tightly hugged each other and kissed passionately, and the clothes on their bodies became less and less. At this time, a large amount of spirit fog was attracted and rolled over, instantly enveloping the two, who were naked and entangled with each other like spirit snake. When Xia Wendy, with a dazed expression and crimson body, fell on the white bed formed by the spirit fog, Yi Chunfeng consumed the precious holy sword grass. Moan, Xia Wendy's rosy lips let out a soft moan that made others feel numb. The two of them intimately fused together, writing a chapter of love in this fairyland of clouds and mist. Xia Wendy had refined the spirit source, Tao insight fruit and other treasures, and her innate Taoist physique had long become incomparably powerful. Under the nourishment of the innate Taoist physique, Yi Chunfeng's comprehension of Tao grew deeper and deeper, and the holy sword grass quickly melted as the two joined, madly merging into the sword's soul, accelerating its transformation. Yi Ming, what's Brother Ye's origin? Ling Yusin personally brewed a cup of top-grade spirit tea for Yu Yiming and asked softly. She was curious about Yi Chunfeng's identity. Yu Yiming shook his head and said, To be honest, I'm also curious about Brother Ye's identity, but there's one thing I'm sure of. Brother Yi shouldn't be from the Void God realm. You're so sure? Ling Yusin asked. Yes, it's a feeling. Yu Yiming nodded and said, Also, I feel that Brother Yi is someone worth befriending. In the future, he might be able to help me. I didn't expect you to have such a high opinion of him. Ling Yusin smiled slightly, pursed her lips, and sipped a small mouthful of tea and said, Then make a guess. Between Brother Yi and Tian Qingyun, who will have the last laugh and become the champion? This. Yu Yiming pondered for a while and said, Although I really want Brother Yi to become the champion, I feel that with his strength and foundation, his chances of becoming the champion are at most 30%. 30% is already very high. Ling Yusin said, You have to know that you used the 3 lives Youngling Stone and still lost to Tian Qingyun. If Brother Yi wants to turn the tide, his foundation must surpass the 3 lives Youngling Stone. Let's wait patiently. Maybe Brother Yi will give us a huge surprise. Yu Yiming drank the tea in his cup, and couldn't help but think of Yi Chunfeng's invincible figure. For some reason, when he thought of the scene where Yi Chunfeng defeated Huang Wutian, Yu Yiming saw a vaguely familiar figure in Yi Chunfeng. Time passed day by day. Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wendy were happily entangled in the 4th level of the universe realm. Under the nourishment of the born Taoism aptitude, the will in Yi Chunfeng's body became even stronger, and the sword spirit had completely merged with the holy sword grass, speeding up the final transformation. Rays of red light shone out of the sword spirit, and the power of the sword spirit increased exponentially. Grasping the opportunity of the sword spirit's transformation, Yi Chunfeng gently placed Xia Wendy, who had fallen into a deep sleep, on the soft bed made of spirit fog. Then, he walked to the front of the void Dao steel and removed all distracting thoughts. While comprehending the void Dao steel, he accelerated the transformation of the sword spirit. Buzz, buzz. After an unknown amount of time, the sword spirit, which was floating above Yi Chunfeng's head and bathed in the light of the will of the Tao, suddenly shone with boundless red light, dyeing the entire space red. Success. The moment the sword spirit transformed from a heaven sword spirit to a saint sword spirit, Yi Chunfeng suddenly opened his eyes, waking up from his cultivation. Although the sword spirit had just transformed into a saint sword spirit, its power had reached the level of a high-grade transcendent saint artifact, becoming Yi Chunfeng's other trump card. The first place of the 100 battles martial competition is mine. Yi Chunfeng's deep eyes revealed an unparalleled confidence. If not me, then who? Chapter 1700. Phew, it's finally the day of the finals. Not long after transforming into a holy sword spirit, a month had passed in the outside world. Xia Wendy's face was tender and beautiful. She gently helped Yi Chunfeng put on his clothes. 8th high school, Wenwang, is almost equal to less than or equal to. Chunfeng, do your best. No matter the outcome, you have to take care of yourself. Don't try to be brave. Yi Chunfeng gently kissed Xia Wendy's forehead and said gently, don't worry. Although Tian Qingyun is strong, he is not invincible. Let's go. After speaking, Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wendy left the universe realm and met up with Yu Yeming, Ling Yusin, and the rest. They rode on the divine horse chariots and headed towards the 100 battles sacred battlefield. Just as they arrived outside the sacred battlefield, Yi Chunfeng coincidentally met Tian Qingyun. Looking at their opponent today, sparks flew from their eyes. The atmosphere instantly became tense. I'm looking forward to fighting with you today. A faint smile suddenly appeared on Tian Qingyun's face. His calm voice was filled with incomparable confidence. Me too. Yi Chunfeng smiled. You will lose without a doubt. After speaking, Yi Chunfeng ignored Tian Qingyun's slightly gloomy face and went to the skyscraping stands with Yu Yeming and the rest. They waited in silence for the competition to begin. Yi Chunfeng could consecutively defeat Mo Chen and Huang Wutian to enter the finals. This was beyond everyone's expectations, and Yi Chunfeng's rumors were flying everywhere. Some said that he came from the Void God world and was the child of a Void God world expert. Others said that he inherited the legacy of a Void God world expert. There were even some who said that he was the son of a dragon and that his dragon force was invincible. Yi Chunfeng turned a deaf ear to everyone's attention. He silently sat on the stands and circulated the soul-devouring art to adjust his condition. Brother Yi, I just received news that Tian Qingyun still has a trump card that he hasn't used yet. As Yi Chunfeng was adjusting his condition, Yu Yeming's voice entered his ears. What trump card? Yi Chunfeng raised his eyebrows slightly. He opened his eyes and asked through voice transmission. An ancestral rhyme talisman. Once activated, it can instantly raise Tian Qingyun's strength to the level of a 4-star heavenly deity. Yu Yiming informed Huang Xiaolong. 4-star heavenly deity. Yi Chunfeng's brows furrowed when he found out about Tian Qingyun's final trump card. He didn't expect that Tian Qingyun not only had the ancient scroll inscribed with the ancestral rhyme ancient runes, but also the ancestral rhyme talisman. He couldn't help but feel a little troubled. Brother Yi, if you force out Tian Qingyun's trump card, it's best if you immediately admit defeat. With my understanding of the celestial race, they might want to kill you and use this opportunity to kill you. Yu Yeming solemnly transmitted. Thank you for telling me. I'll be careful. After saying that, Yi Chunfeng closed his eyes again, silently adjusting his breathing and adjusting his body's condition. Roughly half an hour later, the white-haired old man appeared in the air. His sharp eyes swept over Yi Chunfeng and Tian Qingyun. He loudly announced, "I hereby announce the start of the final round of the 100-battle competition. Qingfeng, no matter the outcome, you must return safely." Xia Wendy tightly grasped Yi Chunfeng's large hand, slightly worried as she exhorted. "Don't worry, he will lose without a doubt." Yi Chunfeng slowly stood up. The aura on his body suddenly erupted. He was like an unsheathed divine sword, incomparably sharp. So, Yi Chunfeng's body moved, cutting through space at an astonishing speed, landing on the battle stage at almost the same time as Tian Qingyun. Standing on the battle stage, Yi Chunfeng and Tian Qingyun didn't speak, but their expressions were surprisingly the same. That was calmness, an extraordinary calmness that made it impossible for others to guess what was going on in their hearts. But the aura on their bodies was getting stronger and stronger. When the two powerful forces came into contact with each other, sparks flew out and blossomed in the air. "Are you ready? The final round begins." Following the white-haired old man's command, Yi Chunfeng and Tian Qingyun's aura suddenly became fiercely repelling each other in the air, forming a powerful whirlwind. Grand Mist Bloodline Ignite. Yi Chunfeng's strength and cultivation were far inferior to Tian Qingyun's. Thus, he ignited his Grand Mist Bloodline the moment he entered the battle stage, increasing his strength to infinitely close the gap between him and Tian Qingyun. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng fiercely took a step forward. Over 60 billion jin of strength erupted from his body, directly dispersing Tian Qingyun's aura as he punched out. Pung pung pung. A punch blasted out, causing the space to tremble. The terrifying fist light caused the entire space to tremble violently. The terrifying fist light left a long trail of light behind it, bringing along an incomparable pressure as it blasted towards Tian Qingyun. Just as Yi Chunfeng's fist light was about to land on Tian Qingyun's chest, a sharp spear light broke out from his body, twisting the space, and piercing through the fist light, breaking Yi Chunfeng's probing attack. After a head-on collision, the two moved at the same time, transforming into two illusory figures that clashed together. And at the moment of collision, the two of them attacked each other fiercely at the same time, attacking each other's body. Although Yi Chunfeng's strength was inferior to Tian Qingyun's, his strength was enough to suppress a deity expert. In the intense battle, not only did Yi Chunfeng not fall into a disadvantage, he even held the absolute advantage, restraining Tian Qingyun's attack. 8 Vicious War Spear. Facing Yi Chunfeng's overwhelming strength, Tian Qingyun's eyes flashed with killing intent. With a thought, he summoned the 8 Vicious War Spear and stabbed it towards Yi Chunfeng. As the spear stabbed over, a deep spear mark instantly appeared in the space. The terrifying spear intent pierced through several miles, directly piercing Yi Chunfeng's chest. After the spear pierced through Yi Chunfeng, Tian Qingyun was not happy, but shocked instead. His body flashed as he decisively wanted to dodge. But the moment he dodged, Yi Chunfeng's afterimage appeared beside him. Endless red light poured out of his sea of soul as his saint-level sword spirit flew out of his sea of soul, intertwined with terrifying will of the Great Path, and slashed at Tian Qingyun at close range. Pung! Caught off guard, Tian Qingyun used all his strength to defend with the 8 Vicious War Spear. But the Saint Sword Spirit's power was too terrifying. The terrifying sword intent passed through the spear and into his arm, causing a severe numbness to appear in his arm. His body kept retreating. Heavens, a Saint Sword Spirit! In just a month, Yi Chunfeng's Sword Spirit has reached the Saint Realm. How did this guy do it? Monster, this Yi Chunfeng is definitely a monster. This cultivation speed is unheard of. Witnessing Yi Chunfeng summon a Saint Sword Spirit and slash Tian Qingyun back, everyone present was stunned. They could not believe what they had just seen. Saint Sword Spirit, I have underestimated you. Although Yi Chunfeng's Saint Sword Spirit had just formed, its power was comparable to a high-grade transcendent saint weapon. It brought great trouble to Tian Qingyun, causing his face to turn gloomy. Strength, unseal. Feeling the threat of the saint's sword spirit, Tian Qingyun did not dare to be careless. He decisively unsealed the strength in his body and raised his strength to the peak of a 2-star heaven god. While Tian Qingyun's strength was rising steadily, Yi Chunfeng merged with the Divine Blood Pearl and Chaos Essence Pearl, burned 2 true spirit sacred flames, and raised his strength to the peak of a 2-star Tao god. In the next moment, the two of them moved at the same time. They used all their skills to fight fiercely. Chapter 1701. Heavenly Wheel / Tian Qingyun's mind moved, and the Heavenly Wheel, a mid-grade transcendent saint artifact, slashed down from the void. The terrifying wheel contained unparalleled destructive power as it slashed towards Yi Chunfeng's head. 80? Chinese. Cosmos Sword Array. At this moment, more than 200 supreme-grade true spirit saint swords flew out of Yi Chunfeng's body, forming a profound sword diagram above his head. When the Cosmos Sword formation merged with the saint-level sword soul, its power skyrocketed, blocking the heavenly wheel that was descending with the light of the Tao. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng's hands moved quickly, and the Cosmos Sword Array continued to produce powerful attacks, sweeping through everything as it attacked Tian Qingyun. Sword light swept out in all directions, wreaking havoc on the entire battle stage. Yi Chunfeng, who was in the center of the Cosmos Sword Array, was like the master of heaven and earth, possessing the power to kill in this space. Under Yi Chunfeng's control of the Cosmos Sword Array, Tian Qingyun's attacks were forcefully suppressed. Streaks of Cosmos swords filled with the power of the saint-level sword spirit continued to shatter Tian Qingyun's attack. God-Demon World Annihilation Spear. Being forced back by the Cosmos Sword Array, Tian Qingyun suppressed his surging blood and qi. His entire body merged with the 8 malevolent war spear, thrusting forward with an unstoppable momentum, shattering all the top-ranked true spirit saint swords and thrusting towards Yi Chunfeng's chest. Cosmos Strike. Tian Qingyun stabbed forward, and Yi Chunfeng immediately controlled the Cosmos swords to fuse together. Fusing with the saint-level sword spirit, they released a blinding red light as they slashed at the God-Demon World Annihilation Spear. The terrifying sword might once again sent Tian Qingyun flying. Heavens, Tian Qingyun's attacks were actually suppressed by Yi Chunfeng. Is a saint-level sword spirit really so terrifying? Nonsense. If a saint-level sword spirit is completed, its power is comparable to an ancestral artifact. Do you think it's powerful or not? However, Tian Qingyun has grasped the ancestral runes, so it won't be easy for Yi Chunfeng to defeat him. Seeing that Tian Qingyun's attacks were constantly being suppressed and that he was in a perilous situation, the sky-like spectator stands were filled with discussions. No matter whether Yi Chunfeng would have the last laugh or not, he would become the focus of discussion on the alien battlefield and the target of many people. Celestial Demon Form, Sky-Breaking Strike. Just as he was about to reach the edge of the stage, Tian Qingyun ignited his powerful bloodline and transformed into his strongest god-devil body. With a thrust of his spear, large cracks appeared in the space in front of him. The spear light that pierced through the void was like a meteor that streaked across the sky. It knocked away the Qiankuan sword and pierced towards Yi Chunfeng's chest. 100 layers of space. Just as Yi Chunfeng was about to be pierced by the sky-crushing strike, hundreds of restrictions appeared in front of him, blocking the sky-crushing strike. When the layers of restrictions were pierced by Tian Qingyun's spear, Yi Chunfeng had already dodged to the side and summoned the 9-layered Black Pagoda to suppress him. Celestial Demon Heavenly Fist. As the 9-layered Black Pagoda continued to grow in size, Tian Qingyun blasted out a powerful celestial demon Heavenly Fist. The terrifying fist light bombarded the 9-layered Black Pagoda, causing it to tremble violently and unable to be suppressed. Seizing the opportunity when Tian Qingyun attacked the 9-layered Black Pagoda, Yi Chunfeng used the sword steps and suddenly increased his speed by 10 times, appearing in front of him. Sky Wheel Break. A powerful Tao will of the heavens flew out of Tian Qingyun's body and slashed towards Yi Chunfeng at close range. Chaos Divine Wood. In the final battle, Yi Chunfeng no longer held back. With a thought, he summoned the Chaos Divine Wood and controlled it to swing its 5-colored treetop, knocking away the Sky Wheel. Godless Sword. Following that, Yi Chunfeng's entire body fused with the demon sealing sword and stimulated the power of 100 ancestral marks. A sword that could shock immortals and steal the brilliance of heaven and earth pierced towards Tian Qingyun's body. Tian Qingyun didn't expect the Chaos Divine Wood's power to be so terrifying. A light whip was enough to knock away the Sky Wheel. Caught off guard, he couldn't dodge the godless sword and could only use one defensive trump card after another to defend. However, the godless sword that had been deduced to the extreme and fused with over 60 billion gene of power was too terrifying. Tian Qingyun's defensive trump cards were shattered one after another, and the demon sealing sword pierced into his chest like a hot knife through butter. And what is this? After stabbing into Tian Qingyun's chest, Yi Chunfeng realized that the demon sealing sword couldn't pierce into his chest at all. A smooth, mirror-like beast bone appeared on his chest and blocked the godless sword's attack. PFFF. Although Tian Qingyun used the mysterious beast bone to block the godless sword's fatal attack, the powerful aftershock still penetrated his body, causing him to vomit blood and retreat step by step. 5-colored Divine Wood. Could this be the legendary Chaos Divine Wood? What is Yi Chunfeng's background? Why is the Chaos Divine Wood living in his body? Seeing Yi Chunfeng summon the primal Chaos Divine Wood that struck the flying wheel, many of the major characters from the faux god realm revealed expressions of deep shock. There were even some who revealed expressions of greed, wanting to take the primal Chaos Divine Wood, one of the 3 great divine trees, for themselves. Cosmos Sword Array / After injuring Tian Qingyun with one sword strike, Yi Chunfeng controlled the Cosmos Sword Array to turn into a rain of swords that continuously slashed down from the sky. The concentrated attacks worsened Tian Qingyun's injuries. Celestial Demon Form, void of heaven and earth. With his injuries worsening, Tian Qingyun had no choice but to use the strongest move of the Celestial Demon Form. With a thrust of his spear, the space in front of him constantly cracked. The terrifying power caused the space in the arena to collapse, turning it into a vacuum. Infinite Primal Chaos. Looking at the collapsing space, the Chaos Divine Wood continued to expand, releasing an endless amount of primal chaos energy into the demon sealing sword. The infinite primal chaos energy shot out. Boom! The 2 powerful forces collided, accelerating the rate at which space collapsed. At the center of the collision, a terrifying black hole appeared, shaking the many layers of defensive barriers and shattering them one after another. Peerless Divine Ability. Both Yi Chunfeng and Tian Qingyun's techniques have reached the level of Peerless Divine Ability. More or less. With their strength, to be able to destroy space to such an extent, they must have grasped a supreme divine ability. What is Yi Chunfeng's background? Why haven't I heard of him before? It's hard to say Yi Chunfeng's identity, but he has exposed so many tempting treasures. It won't be easy for him to leave the 100 Battles Star field alive. Just as everyone was discussing this fierce battle and discussing Yi Chunfeng's identity, Yi Chunfeng relied on his powerful defense to cross the collapsing space and approach Tian Qingyun, whose expression changed slightly. True Dragon Transformation. Yi Chunfeng evolved his Tao intent to the extreme, turning into a fearless blood dragon in the chaotic space. It let out a terrifying dragon roar, attacking Tian Qingyun's soul with a fatal attack. Black Golden Rock Block. Tian Qingyun, who was about to retreat to the edge of the arena, did not dare to face Yi Chunfeng's true dragon transformation head-on. He summoned the black golden feather and transformed it into the black golden rock to block the true dragon transformation's attack. He took advantage of the moment when the black golden rock blocked the attack and dodged to the side. The black golden feather was severely damaged in the battle with Yu Yeming. With Tian Qingyun's strength, it was impossible for him to recover. Now that it was attacked by Yi Qinfeng's blood dragon, it was even more damaged, causing cracks to appear on the surface of the black golden rock. Primal Chaos Divine Wood, break! When the black golden rock was facing Yi Qinfeng's true dragon transformation head-on, the primal Chaos Divine Wood descended from the void, swaying its treetop, releasing the primal Chaos Divine Wood that ruthlessly lashed at the black golden rock. The terrifying primal Chaos Divine Wood directly shattered the cracked black golden rock, breaking one of Tian Qingyun's trump cards. Tian Qingyun, don't hold back anymore, otherwise you won't have the chance anymore. After breaking Tian Qingyun's trump card and severely injuring him, Yi Qinfeng revealed his tyrannical side and proudly roared. Chapter 1702. Good. Yi Qinfeng, I didn't expect you to force me into such a situation. Alright, since you want to see my ultimate trump card, I'll fulfill your wish. Tian Qingyun said coldly as he wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and stared at Yi Qinfeng with his blood-red eyes. Never in his wildest dreams did he expect to be suppressed by Yi Qinfeng. With a thought, he activated his greatest secret. A light talisman covered in mysterious ancestral runes appeared on his forehead. When Tian Qingyun activated a drop of essence blood and fused it with the light talisman on his forehead, a powerful ancestral aura gushed out from the light talisman and poured into his body, instantly raising his strength to the 4-star heavenly god realm. Yi Qinfeng, the competition can end now. In the divine realm, the gap between each level was huge. After fusing with the ancestral symbol, Tian Qingyun not only suppressed his injuries, but also his declining confidence. He was completely confident that with his strength as a 4-star heavenly god, he could easily crush Yi Qinfeng. Ancestral symbol, Tian Qingyun indeed has a trump card that can reverse the situation. Looking at the ancestral symbol that appeared on Tian Qingyun's forehead, Yu Yeming's face instantly darkened. He was secretly worried for Yi Qinfeng. Sigh, in terms of foundation, we still can't compare to the Divine Sky Clan. I didn't expect the Divine Sky Clan to give Tian Qingyun an invaluable ancestral symbol in order to let him take first place. Looks like Brother Ye's chances of winning aren't high. Ling Yusin sighed softly. Not necessarily. I think Brother Yi still has a chance of winning. Yu Yeming looked at the calm Yi Qinfeng and shook his head. Why? You think Brother Yi still has a trump card that he hasn't used yet? Ling Yusin asked. Look at Brother Yi. He doesn't show a trace of panic. This means that everything is still under his control. Yu Yeming said slowly. Perhaps the competition will be even more exciting. 4-star heavenly god. So this is your true trump card. Although Yi Qinfeng had used all his trump cards, there was still an insurmountable gap between him and Tian Qingyun. However, Yi Qinfeng didn't show a trace of panic on his face. Die. Looking at Yi Qinfeng's sullen face, Tian Qingyun felt an inexplicable sense of unease in his heart. Without any hesitation, he stabbed the 8 vicious spear at Yi Qinfeng. Chaos Divine Wood, break. Yi Qinfeng immediately controlled the primal Chaos Divine Wood to meet the attack. The swaying 5-colored tree crown and the black spear light that tore through space clashed fiercely in midair. Let's see how much money this treasure of yours can withstand. Tian Qingyun's spear attack was blocked by the primal Chaos Divine Wood. Tian Qingyun's entire body spun as he pierced out spear lights to attack the primal Chaos Divine Wood. Relying on his incomparable strength, he was able to suppress the primal Chaos Divine Wood's attack. Under Tian Qingyun's all-out attacks, the Chaos Divine Wood was forced back again and again. At this time, the Cosmos Sword Array fused with the Saint-level Sword Spirit slashed down from the void, aiming for Tian Qingyun's head. Celestial Demon Heavenly Fist. Tian Qingyun blasted out a punch. The terrifying fist light shattered everything as it blocked the Cosmos Sword Array's attack. Following that, he displayed the Divine Sky Race's mystique and continuously unleashed earth-shattering attacks. While repelling the Primal Chaos Divine Wood, he forced Yi Chunfeng to retreat again and again. Amazing, Tian Qingyun has used his final trump card. The explosive attack is indeed terrifying. Seeing that Yi Chunfeng was unable to withstand Tian Qingyun's attacks and was constantly dodging with his sword steps, many people felt that Yi Chunfeng's momentum was over. The Divine Sky Race's almighty figures also felt that the stone hanging in their hearts had fallen to the ground. In their view, the 4-star heavenly god realm Tian Qingyun was already in an invincible position. In addition, he also had an ancestral rune. No matter how heaven-defying Yi Chunfeng was, it was impossible for him to turn the tide. Celestial demon, celestial form, sky-breaking strike. Tian Qingyun roared. A terrifying spear light swept through the space of 1 mile. Like a violent spatial current, it bombarded Yi Chunfeng. Ka ka ka. Amidst a series of ear-piercing cracking sounds, Yi Chunfeng's 100 layers seal shattered. The terrifying heaven-breaking strike swept through Yi Chunfeng, crazily destroying his body. It's over, the finals are over. Seeing Yi Chunfeng annihilate the heaven-breaking strike, almost everyone felt that Yi Chunfeng was powerless to reverse the situation. Even Yu Yeming, Ling Yusin, and the others felt that Yi Chunfeng's chances of winning were not high. Suddenly, an endless red light shone in the chaotic space. The saint-level sword's soul slashed out at its limit, forcibly tearing apart the spatial current. Yi Chunfeng relied on his powerful defense and the primal chaos divine wood to resist Tian Qingyun's heaven-breaking strike. Not bad, not bad. You really surprise me more and more. However, the outcome of this battle has been decided. You are destined to be the loser. Looking at the primal chaos divine wood floating above his head and the wounded Yi Chunfeng, Tian Qingyun revealed a ferocious expression. Holding the 8 malevolent war spear in his hand, he continued to attack Yi Chunfeng, not giving him a chance to breathe. You want to defeat me? In your next life. Life Spirit Technique. At this critical moment, Yi Chunfeng used his last resort. In an instant, he burned 10,000 years of his lifespan, forcibly raising his strength to the pinnacle of a 3-star Dao god. His strength was infinitely close to Tian Qingyun's. With the increase in strength, Yi Chunfeng's physical strength also increased, completely making up for the difference in strength. It could be said that the current Yi Chunfeng was no weaker than Tian Qingyun. This is the Spirit Tribe's Life Spirit Sacred Art? Feeling the surging life force and the rapid increase in strength in Yi Chunfeng's body, Tian Qingyun raised his eyebrows, revealing a surprised expression. He was surprised that Yi Chunfeng actually knew the Spirit Tribe's Life Spirit Sacred Art. Tian Qingyun, do you still dare to say that you can win against me? With the increase in strength, Yi Chunfeng revealed a domineering smile, and said arrogantly, I said, no matter how powerful you are, it is useless. You will lose without a doubt. Tian Qingyun did not expect Yi Chunfeng to have so many secrets. With a thought, he activated his strongest killing weapon, the ancestral pattern carved with ancestral rhyme and ancestral pattern, preparing to end this battle in one strike. Go to hell. Tian Qingyun spat out a few mouthfuls of blood essence into the ancestral pattern, activating the ancestral pattern and launching the most fatal attack at Yi Chunfeng. It is not certain who will die yet. Mo Ling, wake up. Equipment controlling Dao. The black dragon-like ancestral pattern carried a shocking ancestral rhythm and attack. Yi Chunfeng awakened the Mo Ling and activated the equipment controlling Dao, instantly activating the strongest attack of the demon sealing sword. He poured all the Dao energy in his body into the demon sealing sword and slashed forward. Boom! Under the stimulation of the Mo Ling, the 100 ancestral patterns erupted with a power that was not weaker than the ancestral pattern. In addition to the power of the demon sealing sword itself, The attack power completely surpassed Tian Qingyun's final trump card. Boom! The two great ancestral rhyme attacks collided, and the ancestral pattern that Tian Qingyun unleashed was instantly shattered. No. Tian Qingyun's eyes widened in fear as he looked at the demon's sealing sword radiance that was slashing towards him. He let out a cry of despair. He could not believe that Yi Chunfeng actually had a trump card that could break the ancestral pattern. By the time he wanted to dodge, it was already too late. The terrifying demon's sealing sword ruthlessly slashed at him, breaking through his body's defense and chopping off half of his body. Following that, Yi Chunfeng, who had the strength of a 3-star Dao god, appeared in front of Tian Qingyun before the white-haired old man could rescue him. His fist, which contained close to 80 billion gene of strength, smashed into Tian Qingyun's head, crushing his head and crushing his soul. Tian Qingyun, who was the most popular candidate for the 100 Battles Martial Conference, was killed on the spot. P.S. Public number, YLTY 83. Chapter 1703. Crazy. Everyone present had gone crazy. Bai Chinese network is almost equal to. Is almost equal to 8 is not equal to 1 is not equal to z less than or equal to greater than or equal. After witnessing Yi Chunfeng kill Tian Qingyun in front of everyone present fell into a daze. They did not dare to imagine what had just happened. Who was Tian Qingyun? He was the most outstanding genius disciple of the Divine Sky Clan in the past 100 years. His future was limitless, and he was a genius who could possibly step into the heavenly ancestor realm. But now, he was killed in front of everyone. Moreover, the 100 Battles competition was held by the Divine Sky Clan. This was undoubtedly a mockery to the Divine Sky Clan, and it drove them crazy. Junior, you're courting death. The white-haired old man roared. He tore apart the shattered restrictions, and was about to rush down to kill Yi Chunfeng and avenge the death of Tian Qingyun. Why? Your Divine Sky Clan can't afford to lose. Although the white-haired old man's strength was terrifying, Yi Chunfeng, who had temporarily reached the peak of the 3-star Dao God realm after using the life spirit technique, was not weaker than him. He sent the white-haired old man flying with a punch and replied domineeringly, "If you can't afford to lose, then don't hold a martial competition of this scale." The white-haired old man was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. His killing intent danced in the wind as he locked onto Yi Chunfeng. "So, did I say anything wrong?" Yi Chunfeng smiled and said, "If I remember correctly, the 100 Battles competition does not restrict killing. In other words, participating in the 100 Battles competition is equivalent to stepping onto the life and death arena. Tian Qingyun was not strong enough and was killed by me. Could it be my fault? Or is it that only your Divine Sky Clan can kill other clansmen, but we can't kill your Divine Sky Clan's clansmen?" Facing Yi Chunfeng's aggressive questioning, the white-haired old man was at a loss for words. Moreover, Yi Chunfeng deliberately incited the various clansmen so that he would not dare to speak carelessly, lest he create a big mess. "Why? You can't answer?" Looking at the white-haired old man whose eyes were spewing fire and whose face was ashen, Yi Chunfeng continued, "If your Divine Sky Clan can't afford to lose, then say it clearly. Don't do such a disgraceful thing. Junior, you have guts." Although the white-haired old man really wanted to attack again, he had no choice but to care about the reputation of the Divine Sky Clan. He could only grit his teeth and swallow his anger, preparing to settle the score with Yi Chunfeng. "I killed Tian Qingyun. Isn't this the first place of the 100 Battles Martial Assembly?" Yi Chunfeng persistently said. "Yes." Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, the white-haired old man could only grit his teeth and whisper, "So now, can we give out the reward?" Yi Chunfeng said calmly. "According to the usual rules, Yu Yeming and Huang Wutian will be tied for third place. However, since Qin Yun has died, the second place will have to be decided between the two of them to receive the reward." the white-haired old man said with an ugly expression. All right, I'll be waiting. With that said, Yi Chunfeng took away Tian Qingyun's belongings in front of everyone and was about to return to the viewing platform. Yi Chunfeng, leave Qingyun's belongings behind. Whether it was the 8 vicious spear or the heaven wheel, they were both important treasures of the divine Sky Clan and could not be lost. The white-haired old man angrily said, These are my spoils of war. Could it be that the divine Sky Clan wants to forcefully take them away? Yi Chunfeng sneered. I advise you to take care of the divine Sky Clan's reputation. You can be shameless, but the divine Sky Clan can't be. With that said, Yi Chunfeng returned to the viewing platform under the furious gaze of the white-haired old man, who could barely suppress the killing intent in his heart. Brother Yi, you've poked a big hole in the basket. Tian Qingyun's status in the divine Sky Clan is not ordinary. Now that you've killed him, the divine Sky Clan will definitely not let this go. Although Yi Chunfeng had created a miracle and avoided the first place of the 100 Battles Martial Assembly, Zhang Wudi and the rest still had worried expressions on their faces. Even if I don't kill Tian Qingyun, the divine Sky Clan will still find trouble with me. In the battle between Yi Chunfeng and Tian Qingyun, he had revealed too many of his trump cards, especially the Chaos Divine Wood, which would definitely make the various clans jealous. Therefore, whether or not Yi Chunfeng killed Tian Qingyun, the various clans would not let him go. Sigh, Brother Yi, with the kindness you have shown us, we should help you when you're in danger. However, the Divine Sky Clan, Imperial Sky Clan, and Demon Clan in the Void God world are too powerful. I'm afraid we won't be able to convince Father to help you. Zhang Wudi sighed softly, voicing the concerns in his heart. Brother Zhang, I appreciate your good intentions, but it won't be easy for them to kill me. I will make them pay a painful price. The divine demon Torch Dragon had broken through to become a 2-star Tao God, and his strength was extremely terrifying. With his help, Yi Chunfeng was completely confident that he could break out of the encirclement and escape. Just as everyone's focus was on Yi Chunfeng, Yu Yeming and Huang Wutian appeared on the stage and engaged in an intense battle. When enemies met, their eyes blazed with hatred. As soon as the battle began, the two of them used their strongest trump cards, raising their strength to the limit and fiercely fighting each other. Although Huang Wutian's body was invincible, Yu Yeming, who had the 3 lives baby stone, had a stronger foundation. Borrowing the power of the 3 lives baby stone, Yu Yeming slowly suppressed Huang Wutian's attack. Divine Demon Tyrant Body. Huang Wutian was completely enraged by Yu Yeming's suppression. He roared and ignited his powerful bloodline power, transforming into the strongest divine demon tyrant body, further increasing his strength. At the same time, he summoned the primitive Tao fetus to attack Yu Yeming together. Daluo Sword Disc, sword sweep in all directions. Huang Wutian and the primitive Tao fetus attacked. Yu Yeming summoned the Daluo Sword Disc, a mid-grade transcendent saint artifact. Powerful sword shadows rippled out, slashing toward Huang Wutian and the primitive Tao fetus, not giving them a chance to get close. Emergence Extreme Breaking Sword. When the Daluo Sword Disc countered Huang Wutian and the primitive Tao fetus, Yu Yeming used his ultimate move. His sword slashed out, turning into tens of thousands of sword feathers, destroying everything, fiercely repelling Huang Wutian's ultimate move. While Yu Yeming and Huang Wutian were fighting fiercely, the experts of the Divine Sky Clan felt that the situation was serious and began to seal off the 100 Battles City. They were prepared to wait for the 100 Battles Martial Conference to end and wait for the opportunity to kill Yi Chunfeng to avenge Tian Qingyun and take everything he had. The battle became more and more intense. Terrifying attacks constantly shattered the space of the battle stage. Yu Yeming and Huang Wutian ignored their injuries and fought fiercely. They both wanted to defeat their opponent and obtain the second place. As time passed, Yu Yeming, who had the 3 lives baby stone, gradually gained the upper hand. Wave after wave of attacks once again suppressed Huang Wutian and the primitive Tao fetus. Seeing Huang Wutian retreating step by step, not only did Huang Wutian's face turn ugly, but the faces of the experts of the Divine Sky Clan also turned ugly. If Huang Wutian lost, then this 100 Battles Martial Conference would become a stain on the Divine Sky Clan's reputation. When they returned, they might be severely punished by the upper echelons of the Divine Sky Clan. Huang Wutian, you have no chance. The explosive attacks forced Huang Wutian to the edge of the battle stage. Yu Yeming activated the 3 Lives Baby Stone's strongest power, releasing the strange 3 Lives power to control the Daluo Sword Disc's ferocious attack. Xian Tian Divine Cannon, Heavenly Punishment. Seeing Huang Wutian being forced off the battle stage, he ignored his injuries and used the strongest attack he knew. But the 3 Lives Baby Stone was too terrifying. The heavenly punishment that Huang Wutian used at the last moment was unable to reverse the situation. He was still forced off the battle stage by the Daluo Sword Disc controlled by Yu Yeming, losing the battle. At this point, the dust of the 100 Battles Martial Conference had settled. Yi Chunfeng and Yu Yeming dominated the first 2 places. Such a result had never occurred since the 100 Battles Martial Conference had been held.